The story begins with the memory of 8 months ago. 16-year-old Sakura Makoto is reported deductions from school, but the guy just smiles quietly and laughs, as if all this for him is just a joke. Other students are shocked to watch what is happening without believing their eyes. They seem to be a senseless draw or misunderstanding. Meanwhile, rumors of the exile of Makoto are instantly spreading among students. He goes indifferent to the judgment. He is said to be beaten by a classmate and was expelled only 2 weeks after the entry. In fact, Makoto tried to stop the bullying, but was involved in a fight. Although he was only injured, he was guilty of him, because the attacker was the son of the chairman of the student council. Immersed in reflection, Makoto hears someone calling him in the schoolyard. The one who approached is none other than the son of the same head of the council. The guy is brazenly approaching. The guy laughs at the exile of Makoto, not giving him a word to say, with a swing beat and immediately sprinkled with images. Makoto falls to the ground, and from above it is also poured. The aggressor mocks, they say, it was not necessary to play the hero. Filed and wounded, the guy only sighs, not finding the strength to answer. The beaten Makoto returns home. Having told her parents about exile, he faces the disappointment of his father, whom the news has embarrassed and angered at the same time. The father asks why he made problems when both with his mother were busy. The mother, without delving, reaches the phone to call to school. None of them are concerned about the son of survived. Exhausted and abandoned, Makoto descends, in the soul. The decision to leave the house, despite everything, has already ripe. The father is trying to stop him. They say, nothing has been decided yet, but Makoto does not rotate and silently ignores the words. Closing the door behind him, the guy thinks that he is guilty of everything, is not able to get rid of the unjust burden. Lonely and depressed, it rises to the hill, from where the whole city is visible, and is conceived in the distance. The heavy sigh breaks the silence, the adult world and its absurd rules, meaningless restrictions and connections that are suffering. Everything seems too complicated. Sitting on the high, Makoto dreams of life where there will be more freedom and happiness. But suddenly, his gaze grabs something strange. Giant, unknown buildings appeared in the city. He notices that the earth is barely trembling, and in different parts of the city, the same buildings have grown at the same time. He did not expect to see it. Powerful impetus causes him to cling to the railing so as not to fall. This time, the trembling is much stronger and scares him to the depths of his soul. Stunned, Makoto approaches one of the strange structures, with surprise and alertness, looking at its huge silhouette. Standing in front of the building, he understands this building is the same as everyone else. Looking closely, the guy notices the stairs leading to a dark depth. Surprised and alert, Makoto begins to think whether he will be able to explore what hides this mysterious structure. Along with him, another guy is watching everything that is happening. He looks into a strange structure, not understanding that it is a herself and what it can lead to. One of the guys flips social networks and sees that such structures have appeared not only in Ammon, but around the world. Users share photos of bizarre creatures that come out of them, particularly striking the figure in the hood, with the skull instead of the face. Feeling adrenaline, Makoto runs rapidly to the entrance. These structures are already called dungeons. Wishing freedom and new meaning in life, he goes inside without hesitation, a step that will change his fate forever. Along with the advent of dungeons throughout the earth, powerful earthquakes begin to occur, the source of which has not yet been installed. The world is panic. News reports about people who have entered these structures and have been victims of creatures. Some died. The danger was much more real than it seemed at first. The government publishes an official warning to stay away from the zones of the dungeon. Investigation has been started. The evacuation plans of the population were activated. Meanwhile, Makoto gently descends the long ladders of the dungeon. The heart is pounding, the pupils are expanded, the adventure causes the adventurer to breathe more often. After reaching the bottom, he finds himself in a giant cave, decorated with threatening stalactites. The atmosphere is mysterious and magical. The guy exclaims in delight, which is all incredible. In the depths of the cave, Makoto suddenly hears his voice in the head. He reports that the system of levels of Shidoka Main is activated. Makoto questioned what it means. The voice explains, by saying status open, he will see his information, skills, and objects as in a real game. From curiosity, the guy decides to try. As soon as he speaks the team, it appears in front of the panel like a game interface. The joy changes to disappointment. All its characteristics are pitifully low. As Makoto curves, the voice begins to explain the basics. Tells about HP, MP skills. Makoto tries not to listen, saying that he already knows everything, but his voice insists, continuing his lecture. Suddenly, the voice opens an important detail. When the level increases, it will gain a random new skill or strengthen the old one. He has a fiery magic of level 1 with a rare property of endless improvement. Such a feature causes a systemic voice a true admiration. Meanwhile, Mucus 1, the perfect opponent for the first attempt, appears before Makoto. The system explains that its boundless ability allows it to exceed any restrictions on evolution. Makoto is delighted. All this really looks like a dream game. Trying to approach the Mucus, he suddenly stifles and falls, hurting. The system indicates that to activate the skill, you need to target your hand and utter its name. Having collected in a fist, Makoto follows the instructions. For the first time, using a level 1 fiery magic, it shoots Mucus. The flames hit the target. The creature is covered by fire, and the guy enthusiastically watches the spectacle. After the victory, he receives a level of increase. Stunned, he rises. It was insanely interesting. The system voice reports that the introductory lesson has ended here and wishes him good luck. Interested, Makoto asks his name. He replies that he can call him any way. The guy chooses the Exile and considers it a wonderful name. The introductory lesson just ended as something strange appears before Makoto. He stops, wary of staring at the foggy figure and thinking that it can mean. A giant creature, a real minotaur, emerges from the darkness. The system immediately derives a hint. The recommended level for combat is the 20th. Makoto smiles crooked, sweat flows from his forehead, hysterical funny breaks from his lips, because he realizes that this opponent is absolutely not on his teeth. A powerful stroke of the Minotaur knocks it down and throws it on the ground. The guy groans, trying to get up and gather. Falling, he still shouts the name of the skills, hoping to activate fiery magic. Despite the wound, Makoto does not seem and tries to answer with a blow. But the spell did not work. Lying, it opens the status. Everything becomes clear. The MP stock is 0. That is why magic failed it. While the Minotaur is approaching, Makoto remembers as he increases, he has gained a new skill. Armed with a new sword, he prepares for battle, clamping his teeth. I am sure of himself, the guy goes to the attack, and instead of direct collision, he runs rapidly. He has a different plan. Minotaur roars, "You're a corpse," but Makoto already rushes to the snack, thinking something trick. He has an exact goal. And so he finds what he was looking for, smiling, preparing to realize the idea. The look burns with confidence. Without delay, he is straightened with the slim. His sword hit the target. The guy acts quickly and decisively. Having made sure that he asks himself in surprise, did it really work out? The system immediately reports that the level is increased by 3, now it is 5th. Makoto floods sweat amazed. His ability to evolve was even stronger than expected. He acquires a new skill 1,000 times experience. Now every defeated monster is a jump forward. Inspired and full of strength, he squeezes his fist, ready to meet with much more dangerous enemies. But the Minotaur is still nearby and prepares for the attack. The next day, his parents in panic, Makoto disappeared. The house covers anxiety. The mother runs to the room, her face pale. She clearly learned something important. She says an hour ago she got a message from her son. A surprised father asks where he is. The woman is about to tell what Makoto wrote. Parents are aware their son is now in the dungeon. At the same time, Makoto again faces the Minotaur. But now everything has changed. In his look, determination is burning, the level of the 15th. He rushes forward without fear and shadow of doubt. Overnamed with heavy breathing, he spent the south in the dungeon. Makoto has time to learn a lot about monsters, about himself, and about the path that has opened before him. Makoto shows a strange feature. Even if you destroy the walls or floor of the dungeon, everything is restored over time. This place lives according to its own laws. Moreover, the monsters he won are also returning. After some time, they appear in the same places again. All this reveals to him an extraordinary perspective. He can train and evolve endlessly, using this cycle in his favor. Makoto continues to experiment with dungeons. Approaching the stairs, he notices Minotaur stops persecution. He wants to pause and write a mother, but the connection is bad. Even objects in the interface seem messy. Despite the danger, it remains calm and analyzes everything carefully. It confirms the new rule: monsters cannot leave the dungeons. Makoto uses this as an advantage, goes beyond the zone, and finally allows himself to rest a little. His plan worked. However, after returning, the situation changes dramatically. The attack suddenly throws it into the wall. Even after the break, the battle just begins. The guy again in a dead end. A new monster, and he has a mana, critical health, famine, and complete exhaustion. Attacks do not work, the level does not increase. He does not understand how he was in such despair. But suddenly something unexpected happens. The monsters he had previously won. Hope flashes in his eyes, the chance to change everything, and he is strongly attacked with a light smile. Using 1,000 times experience and a wave of revived monsters, Makoto methodically destroys enemies. Its level is growing rapidly up to 25 and further. Now he is truly strong. Having defeated a powerful enemy, he feels a real breakthrough. The level jumps up to 43. He is amazed at the potential of his ability and understands. Now a new, incredible path is open to him. Dirty, dusty, and worn, Makoto smiles with admiration. After all that he survived, it is a dungeon, although dangerous, became a symbol of true freedom for him. 2 weeks later, a helicopter flies over the modern metropolis. Below is a crowd of protesters who gathered with a clear demand. People hold banners, scan slogans. They require open portals to the dungeon for everyone. Meanwhile, at the UN meeting, representatives of different countries are discussing whether access to portals should be opened. The discussion is gaining momentum. One of the leaders gets up and proclaims, "The system of levels and objects from the dungeons are incomprehensible to modern science." He considers it the beginning of a new technological revolution and directly states, "Let's open the door." However, the opponent's voice is heard. He doubts whether the research was deep enough. He believes that there are no convincing reasons for opening portals. The opponent reminds that neither modern weapons nor communications are working in the dungeons. It is a place where traditional science is powerless. The fan of the discovery answers, "The world is needed not by armies, but people with high levels." He urges to forget the old paradigms. It is time to act in a new way. And he summarizes that every citizen, regardless of the region, has the right to explore the dungeon. He proposes that the state bought out the found items as the most effective way forward. The man insists people should be warned of danger, but the final decision for everyone. In his opinion, the reward system works great, and this right cannot be taken from those who want. The narrator notes that despite all the risks, dungeons give dreams, money, glory, and freedom. Therefore, you should name those who go there without pathos or neglect. They need a neutral name that recognizes their choice and motivation. The protagonist faces a new enemy, a giant and a formidable opponent, who seems even more dangerous than everything he has seen before. In his look is determination. He accepts the title without hesitation that embodies everything he has passed in this dungeon: pain, struggle, strength, and freedom. 8 months have passed. December. In the province of the Ayanamer, a new dungeon with the recommended level of 40 was opened. The events are transferred to the 5th underground level. This is the present. A detachment of adventure searches comes into battle with a terrible minotaur. He is much more fierce than all the previous ones. The voltage in the air, but one of them says, "We have everything under control." The monster is so unusual that even the system did not determine the recommended level. A group of brothers and sisters of Kudu is covered by despair. They have a minotaur of an unknown level. Iron Yua pleads the hero to flee, but he decides to stay to restrain the enemy and give the rest of the chance to escape. He assumes all responsibility. Aware of the danger, he firmly says, "If everyone runs at the same time, they will die. I call not to attack," but the hero goes forward full of courage. With the cry, "Don't underestimate me," he embarks on the sword in the chest of Minotaur, but the attack is not strong enough. The blow does not have the desired effect. The monster responds with a blow and threw the hero to the ground. He lies, crippled and exhausted. I shout, calling everyone to flee. The situation seems hopeless. The hero looks at, and the frame suddenly changes. In the real world, advertising on the phone calls for new players. New people are needed in this dangerous reality. The hero mentally says goodbye to Ian Yui, apologizing to drawn them into this dangerous and absurd situation. He is bitten by guilt. He admits that he was selfish, forcing his friends to follow him without thinking about their safety. But now he is full of determination. They want them to remember this moment. It will go to the end, one-on-one against the Minotaur, without fear and pity. Staying himself with the monster, the hero sincerely apologizes to everyone. His look is calm, as if he accepted his fate, but suddenly something goes wrong. The space around is distorted. The whirlpool absorbs the hero, the Minotaur, and another mysterious character. Everything sucks in the center of the flash. The protagonist suddenly appears, and with all his force strikes the Minotaur in the chest. A spiral wave rises from the impact. Minotaur roars, hero in shock. He does not believe his eyes. With a new attack, the main character finally achieves the Minotaur. The hero, the Enid, is stunned. They cannot believe what happened just. The hero is approaching a light smile and asks if all the goals. He says he heard the cries and immediately came to the rescue, as if it were a regular walk. One blow and the Minotaur falls. Others are stunned by the hero, falling asleep for praise for the lightning victory that saved everyone. Affected, they do not restrain and ask its current level. They want to find out how he was able to achieve such an incredible result. Smiling, the hero begins to calculate and even remembers that he has just won a rather serious enemy. All this adds intrigue. With a calm smile, he finally answers. His level is 10,000. Calm contrasts with the absurdity of what has been said. They are impressed to the depths of the soul. This number seems unrealistic. The screen appears name, Mako Cherry. And nearby, the inscription, LOVANE 1000. The company is associated with an incredible level that exceeds everything they see. The reaction of those present is pure shock. Such a number does not fit in the head, and everyone looks at the screen with disbelief. Makoto officially confirms, its level is Loving 1000. All are completely confused, unable to find words. They check and in fact, it has reached this crazy figure. Thanks to the ability to gain 1000 times more experience and boundless level, it exceeded all the boundaries of evolution. Makoto admires 1000 levels, but the hero seriously warns him. Such information is dangerous, it should not be disclosed. If you know not only the Japanese government, but other states, it can be used or controlled. He risks losing his freedom. The hero explains it gently and friendly. This line is a mistake, 10 lane, probably spoiled text or system noise we miss without loss of content. The hero recognizes Makoto is not a bad person. On the contrary, he is their rescuer. Thanks to him, they are all alive. Sword Makoto promises to continue to be careful and not put himself in threat. Aya suddenly appears, excited and smiling. She suddenly asks if he heard everything. She admires his strength and suggests that he probably aimed at something serious on an important dungeon with a big challenge. Makoto only shrugs, does not understand why everyone is so surprised. His simple tone only knocks everyone out of the panther. Aya explains that the government has declared a nationwide challenge. Whoever overcomes the Red Shadow boss in Okinawa will receive 30 million. Makoto's eyes are rounded, the sum impresses. Hearing about the reward, he immediately admires. His eyes shine, he repeats several times what a cool challenge, his interest in his craft. The realization that there is such a serious dungeon, even with a monetary award, only more of its interest. Others are surprised to watch his childhood joy. Thank you for the information. Makoto says he should go urgently. However, when he remembers that he will arrive on Monday, if he goes today, he will be surprised. After all, today is Saturday. She suddenly realizes that Makoto stayed in the dungeon for a whole week. The guy is ashamed of this detail. He confesses that he did not leave the dungeon from the moment of his escape. He admits that it would be very inconvenient if this story has become public. Makoto says goodbye, thanks again for the information, and refuses to invite for lunch. They say everything is already settled, so he does not need anything. He rapidly runs the corridor of the dungeon, leaving behind a surprised group. Its silhouette quickly disappears in the distance. While others are watching his departure, the hero apologizes to the girls for panic, which he caused earlier. The hero confesses that he no longer feels the power to defend the group as before. He says he is too old and begins to think about retreat. But Aya sharply interrupts him, reminding, it was he who laughed again in the team of the spirit of struggle. Small mistakes do not matter, important. She proclaims that from that moment they will become the strongest, together, as an unbreakable team, which is all possible. Moved in such words, the hero squeezes his fists. Now he believes again. He strongly states they will try. Everyone answers with inspiration, make promises, joke, atmosphere of heat and cohesive. The scene ends with hope and unity on the background of snow, a symbol of a new beginning. Meanwhile, Makoto arrives in a snow-covered Okinawa. Surprised by winter cold, it looks at the city covered with snow, commenting on the weather. In his thoughts, 8 months since the appearance of the dungeon. During this time, many systems and services focused on players have been created. Makoto arrives in the center of the Aomori branch. The establishment operates 24/7, allowing players to buy and sell things at any time. He comes in watching an active life inside. He begins to lay out many objects on the counter of the center of the dungeon. There are so many of them that it seems it just can't be. The worker was frozen in shock. She cannot believe that so many objects are extracted from such a small bag. It is literally stunned. She says the volume of objects does not correspond to the size of the backpack. This is contrary to common sense, and it does not hide its surprise. Makoto does not understand what is the matter, and calmly asks whether there is a problem. He then explains that his backpack is a magic bag obtained as a trophy from a monster named Adam and Tate. The employee is amazed and instantly imagined a giant turtle. She assumes that Makoto defeated an extremely strong monster. He just says, "Eee," not even understanding the extent of the reaction. Makoto continues to stroll through the center of the dungeon, and players begin to approach it. Someone wants to create a team, someone asks to evaluate things or level. Makoto suddenly notices something unusual. In the middle of the shopping center is a dungeon. This discovery caught it by surprise. The employee explains, on the contrary, the store was built around the dungeon. Only now Makoto realizes that he has not noticed it before. She adds that the dungeons are here low, but the boss has not yet been defeated, despite numerous attempts by players. Seeing Makoto's interest, she tries to cheer him up, but he translates the topic and asks how much time does the object evaluate. Hearing about 10 minutes, he decides to try to do it because of RTA, surprising her determination. Nearby, two adventure seekers discuss rumors about the dungeon of the rank of you. It looks scary, but not impressive. They are convinced that the boss has long won. At this time, Makoto is already descending to the 5th level. Deep underground, in the darkened dungeon of Blurred Prison, Makoto decides to independently investigate the boss area. He feels the presence of the boss. The air becomes thicker and colder. The atmosphere presses like a thunderstorm. Carefully exploring the floor, he finally notices the silhouette of the creature and focuses, preparing for the meeting. This is a Mucus King, a monster with an unknown level. Makoto immediately understands. In front of him, a real boss dungeon. He is preparing for battle. But the Mucus King just notices the enemy, immediately tries to escape. Makoto quickly reacts with a smile. Okay, and he rushes after. It jumps between the structures of the dungeon, preventing Mucus from disappearing from the field of view. The race begins. Makoto is surprised. Despite the low rank, the Mucus is faster than it. Even with a level of 10,000, he barely has time for him. Realizing that the speed of this does not decide, he decides to apply a special ability to take the situation under control. By activating Ice Magic level 10, Makoto in an instant freezes the entire floor, together with the King of Mucus. The blast of cold rapidly covers the space, paralyzing the enemy. He does not even have time to react, as he is fully covered in ice. Makoto causes the final blow, exactly in the frozen nucleus of the monster. The attack is lethal. The boss explodes with an icy storm, leaving behind only the fragments of ice, and a rare trophy. His level increases by 9,900. He is satisfied. He decides to return to the store. Opening the status, Makoto fades. What he saw on the screen makes him expand his eyes from surprise. His level reached 1,900. He realizes that the award for victory was much larger than expected. Although the Mucus King was a boss of low rank, it was because of his unique elusive reward was absurdly. It was not just a victory, it was a breakthrough. Makoto decides to test a new skill, the magic of a flying cloud, a level 1. He is wondering what she is capable of, and he immediately activates it. As soon as the ability is on, it begins to rise into the air. Stroke and passionate, Makoto realizes that he is really flying. The skill works impeccably on the first attempt, but there is a nuance. At the first level, it can only spread slightly without rising high. Disappointed, he refuses to fly on his own to Okinawa and returns to his original plan, to use a regular plane. 2 days later, Makoto arrives in the province of Okinawa, where a new call is already waiting for him. Before his eyes, a large-scale fuss at the entrance to the dungeon Red Shadow, the rank of H. Nearby, he hears the despondent conversations of adventurers. Someone complains that he could not even enter 2 days in a row. Others are frightened by the monster at the entrance and say, a reward of 30 million is not just. While the majority is hesitant, Makoto goes to the entrance with confidence. One of the adventurers stops him, interested in such a calm mood. An experienced adventure seeker warns that even with a level 66, he barely got out alive. He advises Makoto to retreat, believing that the guy is going on big money. Makoto listens in silence without revealing his true level. It retains calm and does not respond to the doubts of others. The helicopter approaches unexpectedly. Makoto only looks at him without losing lightness. The helicopter sits at the entrance to the dungeon. It impresses Makoto. He first sees such a technique at such a small distance. It comes out of an impressive figure. An elegant and decisive girl appears accompanied by 3 agents in costumes. Her looks like something serious. With a powerful tone, the girl exclaims to Makoto, ordered to immediately free her way. Surprised and a little confused, he just stands as a dug, mentally noting that he first sees a real lady clothes. To discharge the tension, Makoto jokes they say she is just a child because they are one age, not too convincing. The girl is instantly ignited and proudly represented, Maria Fangold, and it adds with dignity she is not a baby. At that time, Makoto, the edge of the eye, notices that a man who stood nearby was silently disappeared. His departure seems suspicious. Maria states with confidence, her level is 99, so it is a dungeon for her. Makoto and the rest are amazed, but at the same time. She still seems too small. Makoto involuntarily voices this opinion aloud, for which he immediately gets an annoyed look. Mary is angry, she is 12. Makoto carelessly replies, 12 is still. Makoto adds that 12 years are still a baby. Maria instantly annoys and accuses him of impolite. Her pride is touched. When he tries to explain, her guard interferes and solemnly states that according to the Russian generic code of UDA, Maria is considered an adult at 12. She demands respect for herself and emphasizes it with maximum seriousness. Makoto stands in silence, embarrassed. Meanwhile, Maria decides to go to the dungeon, ordered the guard and the rest to wait outside. It seems strange to him. Even with a level 99 to go inside alone is risky, but he holds back doubts and just apologizes. The guard watches carefully for his reaction, trying to appreciate the guy. A restrained suspicion is read in the eyes. Makoto is included in the dungeon, Red Shadow, and stunned everything looks surprisingly organized as a rank H nearby, the body of the defeated monster. Suddenly from the depth of the corridor comes a cry. Makoto reacts immediately and rushes in the direction of sound. Looking back, he cannot believe his eyes. It is Mary. The same girl with level 99 rushes forward, screaming with horror. Behind her is a giant monster, a fierce boar. She asks for help in hysterics. Makoto in confusion, is this the same self-confident Mary, which was still a moment that was swayed by her force? Everything looks too absurd. Maria runs in a panic, and the boar breathes in her back. Her cries are becoming more desperate. It is not like the behavior of an experienced fighter. Makoto, already alert, reaches out and collects magical energy. She looks at the stage in surprise, but strongly orders Maria to bend right now. Maria looks when a powerful outbreak breaks in the air. Makoto magic affects the boar with destructive force. The monster throws against the wall. The fragments fly on all sides. The affected Maria lies on the ground and looks at the explosion, and Makoto is quietly approaching, as if nothing extraordinary. He causes the monster to a direct blow of fire magic 10. The flame explosion covers the monster, spreading his body in a firestorm. Mary approaches a woman and asks if everything is fine with her, but he is not able to answer, only silently looks at Makoto with a struck and stunned look. Suddenly she explodes with anger. She says she did not ask for help and blames Makoto of lies. The guy just looks silently, not understanding what is the point. She is proudly represented again, but this time Makoto stops her. It reminds that with a level 99 she should fight, not run. Maria is justified, there was no other choice. She confesses with embarrassment, she never won the moving monsters. Others brought them to exhaustion, and she achieved and gained experience. Makoto is surprised. Why does she boast about it? But Mary remains proud. When he is about to leave, the girl suddenly grabs him by the face, which completely knocks out of balance. Maria tries to persuade Makoto to take her to the team, promising to give him a special permission. But he only points to the exit and tells you to contact the guard if she needs help. She insists that he will not go and wants to go through the dungeon to the end. Makoto, annoyed, asks why she ran earlier if she was so determined. The situation becomes an absurd dispute between pride and stubbornness. In the end, Maria confesses that she is afraid and pleadingly asks Makoto to fight for her. Despite the fear, she grabs him for her clothes, not letting go until he agrees. At that moment, she officially offers an alliance. Makoto in confusion, her actions and words contradict each other. Sighing, he finally seems to be, I understood, release. Maria immediately rejoices, thinking that Makoto has accepted her as a full partner, but he adds that helping the child is not too profitable. The offended, Maria replies sharply, does he really think that there is no benefit in alliance with her? Makoto asks why she so stubbornly ends the dungeon. His suspicions are growing, it seems. It is not just about a monetary award. Then Maria reveals the truth. Her true goal is to prove her maturity to parents who live far. She seeks recognition, not gold. She is not chasing money or experience. Everything she wants is that her name is associated with the victory over the Red Shadow. Makoto is genuinely surprised by her frankness. He thinks about Mary's request and concludes, being the center of attention and gaining public recognition, he absolutely does not need. As a person who values freedom above all, Makoto decides to allow him to take away all the glory. So he agrees to the union, but puts the condition that Maria must claim that the dungeon has completed. They officially lay the union and press their hands. Both look inspired. It will be their common challenge. Maria proudly tells him to rejoice that he is now in a team with her. Her tone is full of superficiality. Makoto does not argue, but emphasizes, this cooperation is only for this dungeon. Everything else is not included in the agreement. On the second floor of the Red Shadow, they are waiting for a demonic boar of level 60, a real test of endurance and determination. Maria confidently states, this time everything will work. Her voice is determined, the look is focused. Makoto silently watches how she tries to portray bravery. When she asks whether he has a weapon, he just goes in silence with empty hands. Finally, he extends her sword and says, "It may look scary, but with its level 99 everything will be fine." She firmly takes a weapon and rushes forward to meet with a demon. In the eyes of Mary, courage flashes. It stands motionless when the demonic boar rushes rapidly on it, but this time it does not retreat. She rushes forward and causes a direct stroke, knocking the monster off his feet. She celebrates the victory joyfully, is her first monster, whom she overcame on her own. Makoto confirms, all is well, the danger has passed. Aroused from success, Maria rises further, shouting that her level 99 is not just a figure. She confidently states that she will complete this dungeon. Makoto quietly follows her without worrying. He thinks that everything will probably be fine, but at the next level, they come across the body of another adventure seeker without signs of life. Rising to the third floor of the dungeon, Makoto is interested in Mary. What abilities does she have? She enthusiastically occupies a battle stable and states that she will tell everything. They say, it is time to show why her abilities are exceptional. But suddenly a strange voice, which is spreading, "Stop, it is already beginning to annoy." Despite this, Maria exclaims that she has mastered 4 super strong abilities, but instead of explanations, decides to show everything in fact. She is preparing to activate the first skill, calling Makoto to look carefully, because now she shows her most powerful magic. With confidence, she triggers the magic of the Vacuum 5, and the powerful magic beam erupts forward. The beam cuts the wall of the dungeon through. Makoto observes the result, but the next scene shows both incomprehensibly look at the destroyed wall. It seems that everything went wrong as they expected. Makoto confesses that he sees such magic for the first time. Maria recognizes that she has not yet learned to control her. She always involves the walls. Then it demonstrates the second ability, the magic of healing level 10, capable of instantly treating any wounds. Makoto is delighted, and Maria is already preparing to show the third skill. The third is the magic of the resurrection of level 1. It can bring the dead to life. Makoto is amazed. Is she the only one in the world who has this power? He has associations with playbooks. Maria goes to the last skill, the most rare. She receives 10 times more experience for every defeated monster. She proudly asks whether Makoto had heard about it. He understands why she reached 99, but her excessive enthusiasm is not very striking. Makoto is inadvertently conceived. He has never particularly evaluated his own abilities. Now he understands that there may be others with the same opportunities as he has. When Mary asks what skills he has, Makoto lies that he has nothing special. He decides to hide the truth. Internally, he is convinced that his 1,000-fold experience is better silent about his skill. Talking about it is unnecessary problems that he does not need. Mary begins to suspect something. She is annoyed by Makoto's evidence response, and she no longer believes that he has no ability. But he is genuinely surprised when he learns that he has several magnifies of level 10, fire, ice, lightning, and even an unfamiliar magic of a flying cloud. It praises his strength, and Makoto thanks modestly, though he understands how far he is from ordinary people. Inspired, Maria proclaims that after Makoto, it is the strongest. She needs confirmation, and she is waiting for his reaction. Although there is no answer, she still believes that Makoto is also 99 level. He is happy. They now have a powerful duo. Makoto only looks at her and is silent. The idea of her optimist flashed in her head, but he does not want to destroy her mood. Maria solemnly states that they are the strongest team in all dungeons. Without a shadow, she self-proclaims herself as a leader. Makoto, as before, does not deny anything and allows her to be in her heat. In the end, he laughs easily, saying, "Maybe the truth." Maria looks at him in surprise. He sees such lightness for the first time. Although the partnership was only beneficial, Makoto confesses to himself, to approach such as Maria, not such a bad idea. And Maria thinks this is a rare phenomenon to see a smiling Makoto. Her look is soft and a little surprised. Makoto's memory is commemorating from the past. He once created an alliance with other people. But that experience was a disappointment that you do not want to mention. Everything seemed empty and uninteresting. Meanwhile, on the 6th floor of the dungeon, Red Shadow Maria escapes from a new threat. Something went not at all. She is hysterical to Makoto in hysterics when zombies appear from the dark. Frightened, she rushes to him and calls for help several times. Makoto-kan reacted instantly. He scatters enemies with a powerful blow, protecting the girl from the invasion. Mary tries to hide fear for a forced smile. With the apparent bravado says that the rank H is a trifle, even for her. Somewhere else, another adventure seeker is ambushed. He tries to defend himself, but the forces are uneven, he yells, calling for help. Makoto calmly watches the stage, but Mary, in a panic, rushes into battle, shouting that he will save him. After a successful rescue, this adventure seeker sincerely thanks Makoto for saving his life and even resumed magical energy. Gratitude is read in each of his words. Maria is watching silently, and Makoto replies that it was a trifle, then jokes with the adventurer, "Look who is talking here," maintaining a light mood despite the seriousness of the situation. "Thank you," the adventure seeker says he is in a hurry and moves, right to the side from which they just came. Mary asks as a surprise why. He, blushing, confesses that he just turns back. His tone sounds awkward, the answer is not too convincing. Makoto suspects that someone may have passed the dungeon, but the man quickly denies. They say, it is simply impossible. During the passage through the corridor full of other adventurers, someone is comment, "These two are probably very strong," but it adds, "The forces are not enough to complete this dungeon." Makoto's facial expression changes. Words about something more than power clearly attracted his attention, interest in his eyes. Makoto and Mary reach the 7th floor of the Red Shadow dungeon and are amazed. They are a huge crowd of adventurers in front of them. Everyone looks depressed, no one moves forward. The scene is anxious and surprising, what is waiting in front. They find that on the 7th floor there is a lake completely filled with poison, and this is a great obstacle. One of the girls warns, the liquid gradually paralyzes the body. It becomes impossible to move, even if you dive only for a moment. She adds that an hour ago, someone rushed into the lake ill-advised, and only a woman in glasses saved him, a pure accident. Makoto honestly confesses that he does not have the magic of purification. The attendees are surprised, because it was for such a user that everyone was waiting. Maria panics without knowing what to do. The woman standing nearby interferes and says, there is another way to cross the lake without magic. Makoto suddenly picks up Mary in her arms. She blushes and does not understand what was happening. It was absolutely unexpected. Not paying attention to her embarrassment, he calmly tells her to hold firmly. Using the ability of excessive movement, Makoto flies the poisonous lake with one jump. All observers die in surprise. Maria screams in a panic, not believing that he really was about to cross the lake with a jump. It seems impossible for her. But Makoto calmly activates the magic of the flying cloud of level 1 and begins to spread over poisonous water, holding it in his hands. She is shocked, he can't even say a word. He flies through the lake, leaving behind a stunned crowd. And Mary, although rescued, says angrily to let her go. She does not like that she was touched, even if for noble purposes. Already on Earth, Mary feels awkward. She is ashamed that she was carried in front of all, especially given that Makoto was not her boyfriend. Mary is still stunned and embarrassed by the fact that Makoto carried her on her hands. In memory, its close embrace. She murmurs that he should now be responsible for it. Meanwhile, Makoto behaves completely calm and says that the next stop is the 8th floor. He does not even know how much this situation has affected Mary. She looks at him silently with the face that is pashing. Makoto notices her strange behavior and asks what happened. It reminds that you need to go as far as possible today. Maria, still confused in her emotions, thinks that she must tell her parents about this adventure. And suddenly enthusiasm flashes. She looks glitter in her eyes and shouts. What after the dungeon will be told to the father and mother absolutely everything. Makoto is just surprised, where suddenly such a splash of emotions. Moving already on the 13th floor of the Red Shade, Makoto skillfully combines the magic of the flying cloud of level 2 with the fiery magic of level 10. They are already exploring the dungeon for more than 10 hours. It flies over monsters, releasing powerful fiery attacks. Maria looks with delight and exclaims enthusiastically, "That's what you expect from Makoto-sama." Makoto destroys the monster with a direct blow while protecting Mary. His reactions are accurate, attacks are perfect. Shocked, Maria assures that everything is well with her, but she asks why there are so many monsters around suddenly. Although it is nervous, it holds and worries about the condition of Makoto itself. Defendable, she says the buttons exist to press them, though she just pressed very suspicious. Makoto only sighs, yes, it really looked strange. When the question of rest, Maria insists that she still has strength, and suddenly Makoto decomposes the tent, which is completely surprised. It quickly unfolds a full-fledged camp, towels, food, clothing. Maria is amazed, and he says he will watch himself. The girl admires a magical bag and declares that she wants the same. She sincerely thanks and admires its speed and organization. In her eyes, it is a true admiration. Mary forces Makoto to promise her with the help of a finger oath. When he confirms, her face shines with joy. She is happily hiding in the tent, and Makoto sighs feels like a nanny because he is already exhausted. While he sits outside, Maria thanks him sincerely for everything. Her voice is calm and warm. She praises his fiery magic level 10, which has repeatedly saved her life. It notes that its preparation is at the highest level. He adds that his strength is similar to a powerful warrior of legends. Makoto is confused. Such a sudden praise causes genuine surprise. He asks where she knows about Senko but Guren. Mary is absolutely easy, as if nothing special. Maria tells that the Senko but Guren team is the most famous among young people, thanks to their strength and appearance. Makoto is impressed when they sees their images in the news and media. She proudly remembers how she met with their leader Kamishiro. He calls him a nice guy and confesses that she would like to see him again. It turns out that Maria has already experienced an adventure with them in the past, but did not expect them to become so famous. Makoto is surprised by her words and tries to translate the conversation, calling it dreams. In response, Maria jokingly accuses him of jealousy. The scene brings us 7 months ago, a flashback, where the main character is among several people who probably play an important role in his later life. The hero confesses that from the moment of acquaintance with them, his sense of freedom has shook. Something in this meeting changed his inner world. Kamishiro Shinichi, 16 years old, has fun communicating with Sakura, teasing her for too childish behavior and says that she should grow up. Sakura is confused with reacting that she does not understand what she has done wrong. Kamishiro behaves easily and jokingly. The 5-star SHALOV Sarenstein dungeon is also mentioned, hinting at their experience. Kaido Hikari, Renj Reno, Siggy, and the main character appear in the stage. The scene introduces the team. Everyone has a unique style and luck. Their dynamics are interesting, contrasting, and the interaction is rich. Kaido Hikari, 16 years old, energetic and cheerful, laughs with Makoto and calls him interesting because he fled the house, was expelled from school, and got into the dungeon. Mitsukova Renj, 16 years old, restrained and focused. She is annoyed by the noise, especially Kaido's elaboration. Makoto feels alien, surprised by the behavior of everyone around. Reng something whispers says Nagasavi Beniko, but immediately approaches Makoto. Beniko, 16 years old, asks if he is a solo player. Someone explains that there are 2 types of researchers' dungeons, solo and command. Makoto matches restrained, and Beniko seems indifferent. He tries to support the conversation by calling the name of his team. Others analyze it with some cold and curiosity. Suddenly, many monsters fall from the ceiling. Someone, probably a girl with a braid, accidentally pressed the trap. Makoto is struck by an unexpected attack. The whole team responds instantly. The chaotic battle begins. The Senko no Guren team is fighting. Kaido attacks with force, Renj exactly, Beniko keeps coldness, Kamishiro calmly destroys enemies. Makoto looks from afar, struck by their power. He listens to the explanation. The name Senko but Guren is an abbreviation from the first letters of the team participants. Makoto watches the 4, standing with the weapon in his hands. Their unity, strength, and style are admirable. This is a real team with their own identity and spirit. During a casual conversation, someone asks who invented the name of the team, causing a wave of fun guesses and jokes among the participants. Beniko with Reng is easily overturned by words. Kaido responds exaggerately. Makoto is aware that he has not done anything really difficult yet. But suddenly peace destroys the attack of a new creature. She jumps straight into the group, forcing everyone to get lost. Makoto instantly destroys the enemy and raises the level by 2 points, but the Sakura falls on the ground. Other worries, Kaido picks it up, and Mizukava prepares therapeutic magic. The whole team is going around with anxiety in the eyes. Mizukava assures that it is only a scratch and immediately activates healing magic, seeking to reassure comrades. But during the spell, something goes wrong. The glow changes, magic behaves strange, forcing everyone to strain. Even Mizukava herself acknowledges that something anomalous happened in the process. She did not expect it. Makoto comes to consciousness, covered with a blanket. He notices a vessel with a liquid and tries to remember what has happened. Kamishiro calmly reads a book nearby and asks how he feels. Makoto is still confused and does not understand what happened. He is aware that he was faint and miraculously survived. He was poisoned by a poisonous creature, which he had not even heard of. It is a poisonous bird which has a poisonous gland. His poison is deadly, but thanks to Mizukava he survived. While he slept, Mizukava neutralized the poison, and Kaido moved it to the 14th floor using strength. Makoto thanks shyly, and Kaido insists that he thanks Markawa separately. Without her, he would not survive. Reflecting on the magic of treatment and detoxification, Makoto thinks, is there any sense in the usual doctors in this new world? Kaido decides to look at Sakura's skills. but when the status of Makoto appears, they are shocked by what they see. He has powerful skills, fire, ice, lightning, all at the highest level than Kaido himself. The team is surprised. Makoto reports that he has already reached 71 levels. This is a disappointment in Kaido, which swears to become stronger. The angry Kaido escapes to train, but Kamishiro quarrels for his noise. The Kaido's ashamed. While Makoto is still recovering, Kamishiro carefully examines his status. Seeing the abilities such as endless increase in level and experience times 1,000, he is amazed. Among them are people with unusual features. Meanwhile, Midzuka and Ranji, still ready, decide to use a free minute to talk. Both are alert, but they find time to spill over in a few words, maintaining care to the surrounding space. Makoto notes everyone with surprise and asks whether they are all from the Aryan School Fencing Club. Kamishiro confirms and adds that despite the modest skills, Makoto level is extremely high. When asked why they became players, Tamashiro begins to answer but stops, trying to pick up the right words. This lies something deeper. Makoto honesty confesses to travel with friends fun and exciting. This is its reason. He thinks that he does not know how much he will be interested in people, but so far it makes him move on. Kamishiro notes that even Kaido looks more interesting now than usual, and it is surprising. Then Kamishiro directly says that Makoto conversations really capture him. He asks if Makoto feels the same. Seriously and directly looking into his eyes, Kamishiro waits. He clarifies, does he also think that there is something interesting between them? Makoto is silent without knowing what to answer, plunging into his thoughts. He remembers everything that has happened, battles, support, laughter. Mesters of true friendship come in memory. A barely noticeable smile appears on the face. Then the expression changes to the thoughtful and moved. Everything is really touched by his soul. Together with the copper, it descends to the 14th floor of the dungeon. Still conceived, the guy thanks her for the treatment. It is embarrassed, not knowing how to react. But despite the modest objection, Makoto insists, and she is involuntarily moved. During the transition between the corridors, the Midzuka confesses that he has no useful skills and is only simple. But Makoto rejects it, saying without it he would die. Others also stand up for her saved life in itself, a great achievement. Makoto once again thank her. The copper, slightly stirring, corresponds to a modest, warm smile. When they continue the journey, Beniko tries to draw attention, stating that he also deserves praise, but Kyra unceremoniously says to her to silence. Meanwhile, Kamishiro notices something ahead and points to the hole in the wall that appeared in the dark. Everyone is closer and finds stairs that lead even deeper into the dungeon. Darkness absorbs every step. As soon as they descend on the 15th floor, the Sakura is alert. The atmosphere suddenly became icy and oppressive. Kamishiro confirms her feeling. There is clearly a boss of the floor. There is a creature similar to a terrible wolf that radiates a hostile aura. The group stops before entering the boss room of the 15th floor. Everyone guesses the monster is already waiting for them inside. To decide who will be the first to fight the monster, Beniko proposes to choose with the help of stonerod paper. Midzuka reacts confusedly. She does not know the rules of the game, which is even more surprised by the Sakurai. Beniko explains that to distribute the experience fairly, they always determine who will strike the final blow through this game. Kaido suddenly interrupts. Sakura cannot participate because he has 71 levels and is not officially a part of the team. The group agrees without resistance, but Sakura is silent, thinking, as if something important is nurturing inside. Midzuka does not restrain. He strongly states that Sakura has already become their friend. Her words impress everyone, especially Sakura himself. Kamishiro and Kaido think about it. Finally, Kamishiro decides to exclude a friend wrong. Sakura agrees to play with a smile because now they are real friends. Together, they enter the boss room of the 15th floor as the only team full of trust and unity. The group moves deeper. Every step is tension. The air seems thicker and fear sneaks unnoticed. Kaido feels something hostile ahead, and indeed, the boss approaching anxiety. Suddenly, a monster jumps out of the darkness silent, massive, attacks from the rear, jumping all over. Makoto rushes forward, protecting the copper. The blow falls on him. The teeth of the beast sparkle into his body. Despite the wound, he retains calm, assures that everything is fine with him, and asks others to retreat. He goes to the front himself, checking whether this creature is poisonous. Without hesitation, Kaido rushes to the attack, causing a monster to blow his fist. The group looks around and sees. Makoto stands on the front line. They ask if he will really be able to cope with this beast. It becomes known that the enemy is a boss with two tails, the level of which is not indicated, which indicates an extraordinary danger. Kaido tries to take the initiative, promising to quickly deal with the boss. Midzevka with anxiety examines Makoto wounds. He confesses that after the bite he has only half health, apparently because of a special effect. The insect warns that something is more dangerous. Beniko and Kamishiro are shocked, realizing Kaido only level 24 and absolutely does not pull this boss. But there is no time for reflection. The boss of the 15th floor brutally attacks Kaido, killing him in the ground. The wound is critical. The monster teeth are absorbed in Kaido. He screams with pain, and his glasses of life are rapidly melting. In seconds, HP falls from 78 to 39. The boss doesn't even think to stop, gets ready for a new blow. Ranji strongly rushes forward and puts the sword into the body of the monster, tearing the attack on Kaido. At this point, Sakura notices injuries on his hand, but ignores the pain. She asks Midzevka to help Kaido without thinking about herself. Ranji is preparing for a new blow, as Midzaka is in a hurry to Kaido, who is already regretting her recklessness. The monster again rushes to Kaido. Despite the wounds, he realizes that he became the target and shouts to friends, "Run away, he will turn away the monster." Sakura protrudes forward to protect the copper and Kaido and activates the magic of lightning. A powerful flash explodes in front of the monster, stunning everyone, although it is only a first-level spell. The power is enough to stop the monster. The group looks amazed at the body of the defeated boss. Everyone sighs, but they are surprised. Sakura receives a message. He rose to 20 levels at once. Looking shocked in his hand, he whispered, "Is dangerous." Midzawa, worried, runs to the seriously wounded Kaido and calls him name. Sakura also suits and asks whether he is in order. Suddenly Kaido falls forward, exhausted with wounds. Sakura has time to pick him up. All worried about Kaido, but even with such wounds. He gets up and blames Sakura of the stealing of prey, ignoring the fact that he saved his life. Kaido's reaction shocks everyone. He continues to boil from anger. Despite the intense atmosphere and attempts to help others, Kaido ignores everything, disappointed by his behavior and situation in general. Sakura decides to move away from the group. Although they ask him to stop, he only thanks for his help. He says calmly that he will no longer follow anyone and goes confidently. Midzuka and Makoto try to catch up with him, worried. Sakura suddenly wakes up from Makoto's voice. He still shakes after he has experienced. Looking back, he sees Mary, who was dozing, standing on guard. She wakes up from his voice and answers sleepily. Sakura, surprised, jokes how to sleep on the post. The tension disappears gradually. Maria appears in a new outfit, which is surprised by the cherry. He praises her, they say she suits her. Mary is red, but with a sour expression he thinks that he is too thoughtlessly poured with compliments. She explains that she just had a little sewing the clothes he gave her. Sakura tries to remember whether he really bought this dress. He says that the thing was too difficult to wear, so he just put it in a bag. Seeing how skilled Maria coped with his homework, he notes that it was a surprise for him. She rejoices, but at the same time points out, the word unexpectedly sounds extra. Sakura just smiles. The narrator completes the scene with the words, "And then, Mary and I." While Sakura and Maria are quietly exploring the territory, they continue to check the objects and tidy up. One of the staff appears on the status of Makoto, level 19, but the characteristics are insanely high, with endless skills of endless increase in level and 1,000 times experience. Mary, amazed, looks at his data, and Sakura quietly shows her status. On the 19th floor of the dungeon of the Red Shadow Maze of Sakura, and Maria, clearly lost among the endless corridors. Maria confesses that he first sees a dungeon with such a confusing planning. Sakura nods, smiling. She is surprised that it will make it laugh. He explains, in the mazes it is enough to go, holding your hand on one of the walls, and in the end you will find a way out. Maria is amazed at simplicity and efficiency of advice. Suddenly, Sakura hears a voice from one of the corridors and rushes to check. His opinion is clear. There is definitely someone there, ahead of the passage like a scene from a horror movie. Mary with a tense face confirms a spooky feeling. Both remain vigilant, feeling anxious atmosphere. Current scene, Maria and Sakura are exploring a glowing, dark corridor, where every sound seems to be a harbinger of danger. A group of 4 people appears from behind the horn. Among them are Midzuka, Kaita, and 2 others in combat armor. Midzuka immediately recognizes Sakura. She joyfully runs towards him, shouting that she had not seen him for a long time. Sakura and Maria react with surprise. An unexpected meeting strikes them both. Maria remembers the past. She once admired the feats of the Senko no Guren group and dreamed of becoming the same exceptional play. And now, having met them personally, she cannot believe in such amazing accident. Meanwhile, the members of the group notice Makoto and begin to joke that Mary is his girl. Both are embarrassed. The younger participants enthusiastically recognize the legendary team of Senko, no Guren, and praise each of its participants sincerely. Midzevka is praised for her universal skills, Kyoto for the strength and style of battle, and Nagasave for the sophisticated technique of kendo. Sakura, with a serious expression, seems a little annoyed with such a wave of admiration. Finally, the leader of the team, Kamishiro. Little Fan welcomes him with admiration. Maria does not restrain his joy and attracts attention with her curiosity, and Makoto tries to justify her behavior. The narrator explains. Kamishiro is a nugget and a prominent leader, but because of his perfection, it is difficult for him to get along with people. He tries to compensate for this with charm, but unsuccessfully. One of the members of the group recognizes Mary. She is a professional model that appeared in the popular Color Star magazine. It shocks everyone, especially Makoto, who did not suspect it. Maria is starving, but at the same time feels a pleasant excitement from such recognition. Immediately she turns to Makoto with indignation. Why did he say that the alliance with her would not give any benefits? Makoto explains that they met at the entrance to the dungeon, and since then they have been temporarily acting together because he wanted to help her. Midzuka, Kyoto, and others are surprised, but quickly rejoice and enthusiastically offer to join the team again. Makoto confirms that he and Maria promise to stay together until the dungeons pass. The moved Maria asks if this promise is still valid. Everyone supports, and Makoto is sincerely hopeful that he will be able to count on the help of the group. Mary is easily accepted to the team. Makoto is internally surprised how warm this atmosphere seems. Other girls quickly make contact with Mary. Makoto is silently watching and realizing, around familiar faces, and everyone accepted as is. He sees something positive in this. His restrained presence allows you to stay in the shadow without attracting unnecessary attention. Meanwhile, the team goes on. In a relaxed, pleasant atmosphere where every step is accompanied by lightness and trust, Kamishiro approaches Mary with a warm smile and extends her hand. Yes, surprised and discouraged, he first fades, but he still accepts his gesture. Other participants of the group with smiles are watching a cute scene between them. During a training combat, the warrior in armor rushes forward with the sword, but Makoto is rapidly counterattaking. His power impresses everyone. Night Guard is immersed in silence. Everyone is deeply impressed with the demonstration of power. Soon, the group is going to a joint meal by arranging a makeshift open-air dinner. Everyone is sitting just on the floor, enjoying a moment of rest. The meal is a light atmosphere. Maria jokingly points out that certain dishes are not for everyone. She tries to snatch something out of Makoto's hands, but at some point realizes how intimate the gesture looks, turns red and embarrassing. Quickly turns away and others laugh with warmth. Makoto also notices the smiles of his comrades and, smiling a little, feels he is comfortable with these people. The scene is transferred to the 20th floor of the Dungeon of the Red Shadow, Maze the deepest level, where they are waiting for a new test. The group faces a boss that seems brittle. Kaido, the winner of the Stone-Ton paper, goes to the first line. Midzuka is instructed to prepare therapeutic magic. Nagasava is in standby mode, ready to support. Mary is transferred to the rear for safety. Makoto says that he will only help if needed. Everyone holds positions. Kaido rapidly attacks the boss in a direct blow, starting a battle. Others watch the duel from afar, carefully evaluating the development of events. Midzuka confesses that they almost forced Makoto to join, although they knew he could defeat the boss alone. Makoto calmly apologizes. He silently watches the end of the battle, immersed in his own thoughts. He confesses to himself that he wants to fight freely and on his own, but he realizes that, seeking freedom in loneliness, he eventually surrounded himself with allies. Hard words and expulsion from the past come in memory. And yet, despite the lack of complete freedom, he feels really well next to this group. Among the wreckage after the battle, the team leader smiles at Makoto and says he really enjoys this moment. Makoto looks at him silently, struck by sincerity. These words touch him deep inside. Makoto looks closely at the wreckage when the earth begins to crack under it. A huge hole is spreading in front of him. It causes him by surprise. He tries to retreat, but the stress does not release. Makoto sneaks among the unconscious comrades, all overthrown. There is a true threat ahead, a creature with 9 tails, a true boss of the floor. Its level is unknown and the presence is depressing. Makoto is preparing for a serious battle. Looking at the wounded friends and this giant threat, it is rage. He remembers how he lost freedom and found himself in a situation without choice. His gaze rests on the enemy. It is uninvited. With determination in his eyes, he goes to battle with the nine-tailed alone. Meanwhile, the reporter Coco happily reports the sensation, a new story from the dungeon of the Red Shadow Maze. The most common place in the province of Okinawa, players from all over the country gathered at the entrance. The dungeon fought the community's attention. Coco announces that even the legendary Saint Kori Guren team arrived at the scene. Their appearance is delight in fans, many already dream of autographs. The reporter emphasizes, the Red Dungeon is at the center of national attention. 5 days have passed since the government has announced a reward. Inside the dungeon, the guy rushes to a creature with a straight blow, taking a call face to face. In the air, the question hangs, will the one who can pass the dungeon? Kodo finds a copper on the ground and rushes to it. He sighs relief, seeing that she is alive. But stunned, he tries to understand what happened. She explains that the explosive force of the nine ill was severely injured. Due to the fact that she was hiding behind Kodo, she managed to avoid the worst. Awareness of the defeat fills it with pain. Kodo pleading asks her to save everyone. He believes only she is able to do it. In the face of the crisis, Midzuka awakens its strength, activates icy magic of level 10, a powerful stream of cold instantly rolled around, struck by each witness. The monster is immediately frozen. All are impressed with the scale of its strength. Kodo is confidently forward, saying a copper to take care of the wounded. He will finish it. She calls him with anxiety, but he assures everything is fine, only he can handle it. One rushes into battle and launches in the monster fiery magic of level 10. The giant fireblood explodes with a stunning force. The blow is exactly the target. The battlefield is covered by a powerful shock wave. This understands that neither physical blows nor icy magic have caused harm. The body of the monster consists of fire. But the previous explosion still rejected the creature back, thanks to the magic of the Flying Cloud 3. Quickly changes position, analyzes the situation and concludes, you can win only in one way. This launches a powerful lightning spell 10, the sky explodes with a glow, but the monster withstands the pressure and blocks the attack. Stunned, which is observed through diaper energy, realizing that even with such force, the creature failed to overcome. The memory of the past flashes in his head. Once he was abused at school, someone destroyed his things right in the classroom, and he stood, paralyzed by fear. Classmates were mocking, and even the concern of one girl could not move it from the place, only silent pain, and then even more severe humiliation. One of the abusers simulated hanging, and said that in his place, he would have been committed to him. The one exploded, he called them the scum, but again the hearing is powerless. Even full of anger, he couldn't do anything, defenseless, weak. He thinks how could all change if he opposed Sakurabi, may have been supported, maybe it would be in that world, but now it doesn't matter anymore. Because now he is among other people, new comrades value it and accept it as they are. Makoto, wounded and exhausted, finds force. He remembers that he now has a place and people he does not want to lose. Trying to rise, he decides, if one attack is not enough, he will fight again and again. A wounded but smiling Maria appears. She says not to worry, they are all around, and these words further strengthen his determination. Makoto, seriously injured but full of strength, activates the spell using both hands. He announces, it is his most powerful magic. In the eyes, hardness and pity, he looks at the nine-tailed and says, this is the end. At the same time, it activates 2 levels of lightning level 10. A powerful electrical discharge destroys everything in the way. Makoto stands in front of the enemy, firmly stating, they are not level. The difference in power is obvious. This battle will be completed. The creature is overthrown. Makoto swears to protect those who do not want to lose. It will not allow the past to repeat. His level jumps at 417 points, a reward for victory and a new determination. Exhausted, Makoto falls to the ground, but in the look relief. He looks into the sky silently, allowing himself to exhale deeply. The battlefield is destroyed and the threat is destroyed. The girls are happily celebrating victory, with smiles, relief, and happiness. Although Makoto is exhausted to the border, in his heart is peace. He finally protected what really loves. After the battle, everyone gathered together, sighing lightly. Makoto thanks Sakura. Without her, this victory would be impossible. Others are passionate about praising his strength and courage, calling incredible, and Makoto himself watches silently, allowing the celebration to take place around him. The team is gradually recovering after victory. One of the fighters, still competitive, promises not to lose the next time. Makoto calmly answers and even apologizes for the previous blow. The atmosphere is easy jokes and friendly horselight. Everyone feels unity and pride. The dungeon of the Red Shadow Maze, rank H, officially passed. Meanwhile, the crowd is going outside. People are excited, waiting for news. Someone noticed how the adventure seekers return and immediately attracts the attention of everyone. There is a joyful exclamation. The characters have returned. Senko no Guren returns with a victory, causing surprise and admiration among the crowd. One of the observers draws attention to a strange shiny object in the hands of Sakura, a pendant on a chain. I wonder what it is. Makoto explains, it is a necklace left 9, proof of victory over a real boss. But he asks not to mention his name. All merits are the team. He does not seek glory or recognition. Sakura agrees and announces that the Dungeon of the Red Shadow Maze was held by the Senko no Guren team with Maria. The crowd rejoices, enthusiastically discussing the battle with the boss and the danger they had to overcome. Some people recognize Mary as a star, and this makes even more noise. While attention is drawn to others, Makoto is quietly preparing to leave. Sakura finally checks whether he does not want to stay. Makoto confidently replies that time to go on. He says goodbye to everyone, ready to go on his own way. The team is surprised but accepts his choice. Before leaving, he turns to Sakura. But he sincerely says, perhaps they will not be together. But as friends, there will always be a place for him. Makoto smiles, gratefully accepting this connection. Going himself, he reflects on the battle and discovers a new one, the ability to combine skills by creating unique strategies. He remembers the moment when he used 2 levels of lightning at the same level at the same time and feels excited about this discovery. Inspired, he sees many new opportunities. Now it is important for him not just to grow in a level, but to learn how to use power with reason. And at that moment, Mary appears, catching up with him. She calls loudly, anxious and decisive. Concealed, Makoto asks what happened. Mary, blushing, replies happily, they have to declare important news, her parents. She insists that they have to say it together and moved. She confesses how much time spent with him means. It hugs it firmly, remembering the adventures, conversations, and battles they have experienced together. Makoto is stunning why she hugs him so firmly. He does not know how to respond to Mary's sincerity. Maria says that she always lived happily, in the love of her parents, but knew, in the outside world, there is still a miracle she did not see. Smiling with confidence, she says, if it is Makoto, everyone will accept it, and he suggests to tell the news together. Moved by her trust and enthusiasm, Makoto looks at her silently and understands. Maria is a truly incredible person. He confesses that he quarreled with his parents 8 months ago and has not returned home since then, but nevertheless, he still has their son and must apologize. Mary, as always straight, states that she would hate Makoto if he did not love her parents. These words cause him a smile. She is fun and confidently accepting the situation. Okay then, saying goodbye, he says he will meet him when he becomes a true gentleman worthy of her. They say goodbye to a smile, squeezing their fists as the strongest team. There is a promise in the air. Makoto arrives in the province of Mariok. He inspects the terrain calmly, checks something in the phone, inhales deeply, and goes into the house. In front of the door is gathered with the spirit. Let's go. He crosses the threshold. The mother runs out and hugs him firmly. Surprised, Makoto can only say, Mom. With tears in her eyes, she calls him a fool and whispers joyfully. With a return, Makoto is silently moved. He goes to his father and looks straight into his eyes. A long pause, and the father says, with a return, son. Makoto barely smiles. I'm home, Dad. His 8 months of traveling out of home ends. Finally at home, he exhales with relief, but his spirit is again addressed to new challenges. Sitting in the room, he takes the phone. It is time to choose the next dungeon. The life of a player does not stop. Makoto tells his parents about his decision. He becomes a full-fledged player. His path is defined. After completing the dungeon of the rank H, it prepares for the next call, the rank G. He decisively reports that he is going, and at the moment he leaves the house, Mary, surprised, sounds by his name. Mary, dressed festively and excitedly smiling, appears in front of Makoto's door. The time of their promised meeting has come. Makoto, confused, immediately closes the door right in front of her nose. Maria is surprised to click and begins to sound in name. In the mirror, he notices his clothes are torn after the battle with 9. It's time to dress. He also draws attention to the fact that Maria looks worn out on Mary, so she invites her to dress. But she quickly refuses. They say everything is fine. Maria says he won't waste a gift because it is Makoto's clothes. She will repair him herself. Both agree, ready to go. Makoto is amazed at her determination, unusual for such a young girl. But noticing his look makes a sweet face, and suddenly Makoto noticed there are other girls gathered. They greet him easily, saying, "Good morning," and remind of the promise he gave them in Okinawa. Some of them say the moment that was discussed then came right now. Makoto tries to charm, they say. He was about to go to the dungeon, but the girls interrupt him, reminding that Maria returns home next week, and this meeting is a kind of farewell. But even then he insists, the dungeon is a youth. One of the girls mentally shrugs, what is wrong with him? Mary offers after the meeting to go to the dungeon. The group enthusiastically supports the idea. Makoto asks how she learned his address, but Mary with a sly smile changes the topic. There are things that are better not to know. He is embarrassed. Meanwhile, everyone in the high mood goes to the clothing store. Maria insists it's time to choose a new image of Makoto. He says he constantly wears the same, and she knows how to help him. Makoto hacks and reminds her. She said that they should be dispersed. But he confesses she did not want to upset him, and now, before leaving, he wants to thank for everything he has done for her. Maria asks him to just relax and enjoy the moment. Makoto agrees and eventually chooses a t-shirt with a strange cartoon goblin. Maria is delighted, praises his choice, calls the t-shirt beautiful, while other girls are silent, obviously puzzled by his weird taste. The team arrives in the oceanarium of Human. Maria comes to life immediately. She exclaims that he is loved oceanarium and enthusiastically rushes forward, leaving others in a surprised observation. Makoto notes that this place is slightly smaller than the oceanarium in its hometown. Maria screams that she wants to see penguins, and Makoto warns her not to get lost. Others laugh from this scene. While Maria is exploring the exhibition, Makoto turns to Midzukawa. What exactly did she want to see? After all, the idea of the trip was her. She is shy, she confesses. She likes jellyfish. They approach a large aquarium, where dozens of jellyfish float freely. Midzuka says that these creatures are mysterious and charming. She adds enthusiastically that all the jellyfish here are marine, and many people even keep them at home as pets. Her eyes shine when she talks about a whole museum dedicated to rare types of jellyfish. In a moment, she is already running forward and calling Makoto to join. He just smiles silently and follows. Midzevka says that this day is special for her because she saw a rare jellyfish and spent it with Makoto. He agrees, he was also pleased. Then he gives her a souvenir, a keychain in the form of a jellyfish. Surprised and moved, she asks, is it really for her? Makoto nods. He bought gifts for other girls. Midzuka thanks emotionally and says that this gift will keep this gift all his life. A little shitted, Makoto confesses that he chose the keychain spontaneously when he looked at the t-shirt with the inscription, Village. At that moment, Midzukawa's phone calls, interrupting the moment. Makoto, meanwhile, notes that he never saw two girls in the aquarium. The copper takes the phone. Benny calls, the voice of which sounds panic. She begs for help. When asked where she is, Benny quickly answers, she is in the entertainment park. Makoto and Midzuka are immediately understanding. This is something serious. At that time, Mary enthusiastically rushes to the following attractions. She is delighted with extreme. Midzuka and Makoto were surprised. They did not expect it. Nearby, they notice that Nagasawa does not tolerate strong emotions very well. Exhausted with a slightly tired look, Zion looks at younger girls, at the same time with admiration and fatigue. How do they have so much energy? Makoto watches Mary and Midzevka with joy riding on the attractions, and at this time, talks to Nagasave about the prey from the dungeon of the Red Shadow Maze, and proposes to divide the profit equally between everyone. Makoto abandons his share. For him, the main thing is not the profit, but the call of the dungeon. He says he doesn't need a lot of money to live well. Despite his confidence, Nagasawa still believes that such a distribution is unfair. While they are resting together, Makoto asks whether the Senko no Guren team has any further plans. Nagasawa replies what he has. Like most players, they seek one. To get to the dungeon of the Mountain of Hirnd, the dungeon of Ranka, which is also called the Ladder. This is the highest challenge and the final goal for many adventurers. Makoto recognizes the name. He was there 2 months ago. He says that it is located near the Yuzori Lake in the prefecture of the Aomori. The place is imbued with ice, dead peace. Even the power could not open the gate, as if the entrance itself was sealed forever. While they are discussing this terrifying place, Kamishiro acknowledges that he has felt fear, though not too embarrassing it. Range changes his mood with a smile, saying that now is not the time for the horror stories about the dungeons, and orders Sakura to buy all the drinks in apology. Meanwhile, 2 strangers are suitable for Makoto and trying to flirt him with the girl. At that time, Mary and Midzuka were photographed with fans on the background. Makoto returns with drinks and sees the same guys who hint that he is waiting for his guy. Reng appears and sarcastically stops the situation, calling those 2 strange and short-lived. The offended guys are trying to defend their dignity, but Makoto and Reng remain calm, making it clear that there is no connection between them. The Turns out that it is a browse, theatrically represented, the strongest YouTubers, level 99. They demand that they have been called strange, and they threaten that they will take revenge on the image. Makoto calmly watches the stage. In the thoughts, I am the level of 20,000. The threats are not worried at all. Section 11th, Tsuchikure brothers announce a PvP beat for glory. They boast a series of 38 victories and see potential viral content in Makoto and Nagasavi due to its popularity, require a record of battle as compensation. Nagasawa immediately denies any romantic connection with Makoto, emphasizes that they are not a couple. The voltage in the air increases. One of the brothers assures that even if someone is injured, they have a level 8 medical magic. Laughing confidently, he says that there is no chance of losing. At this point, Makoto recalls that when they activated the level of levels, everyone received different starting indicators, depending on the physical form. They were low, and he still remembers this inequality. In the meantime, the brothers are shaking in their articles. They say they are so muscular that even 99 levels remain invincible. Sakura loses his patience because of the self-confidence of the Tsuchikure brothers, calls them crazy in T-shirts, and challenges a direct challenge. Makoto tries to reassure her. They say there is no point in making a fight, but the brothers only provoke even more, ready for battle. He confesses that he has 94 levels, but hesitates, because it cannot simply attack the enemy with lower characteristics, yet he decides to fight instead of Nagasa. She asks why, and Makoto only answers, I cannot rely on gross power. An annoyed Nagasawa agrees, if you lose I will kill you, and it's not a joke. Half serious, Bill looks a little worried. The battle begins. The opponent immediately activates the technique that triples its speed, trying to catch Makoto by surprise. Makoto, confident in himself, says he doesn't lose. One of the employees enthusiastically shoots everything on the video. The battle begins with the rapid attack of the opponent. He punches his leg into the body. The blow is accurate, but Makoto did not even shudder. The enemy mocks, believing that he has hit painful, and tries to annoy even more. Makoto calmly says, you say too much. Meanwhile, a second brother enters the battle, stunned by his resilience. He launches the technique of Tsuchikure Rush, a frantic series of blows. Everyone thinks that Makoto will not withstand, but in the midst of the attack, the opponent notices a little strange. Whatever he has tried, no blow reaches the hole. Makoto is easily evading, remaining absolutely calm. And in an instant, Makoto replies one and only blow to the stomach, and he says only, hey. The blow is so powerful that the enemy rejects far back. He flies in the air without controlling his body. The audience is stunned what lightness it happened. Makoto looks calmly at the result, and the other brother screams in despair, accusing him of fraud or magic. Makoto only shrugs his shoulders. They say not to restrain himself. And suddenly activates the air magic of level 10. The powerful explosion of energy is stunning everyone around. Makoto notices, as with therapeutic spells, you can stabilize magic with 2 hands, and decides to clarify it in Mary. While it is experimenting, the spell is unexpectedly released. The shockwave flies all the way. Sakura shouts, danger, when magic flies straight at them. Makoto responds lightly. He grabs Sakura and jumps out of the explosion zone, protecting it. All stunned, especially brothers, one of them premises that it is impossible. They lost, and they cannot believe that Makoto had managed to evade. Makoto completes the battle with one accurate blow in the face of the last of the brothers, moving it to the ground. Without pathos, and poses only the quiet we won. The scene closes. The opponents lie without a sense. Victory is simple and obvious. After the battle, Makoto apologizes. He instinctively evaded, forgetting that there was Nagasa. She asks if everything is fine with him, but her attention suddenly attracts something on the floor. It is a gift with a soft toy from Mary. The expression of Nagasawa's face changes. It clearly affected it. Other girls notice a tense atmosphere and silence. After all, the group tries to relax in the cafe, but the short-term brothers of the Tsuchikure appear again, trying to join the company, calling Makoto with their boss. Others openly show they do not consider them friends. Benia asks how many more Makoto plans to sit here, and he tiredly replies it's time to go home. The group agrees the day is completed on a calm note, despite all the events. But Daggett reminds that they were going to go to the dungeon. What about this? The girls gladly pick up the idea. Maria shines with admiration. Everyone laughs, and even Beni is sick, but agrees. Makoto looks at Nagasawa. Are you with us? The scene ends for a moment before answering with a note of waiting. Nagasawa, slightly blushing, replies, let's go. She tries to hide her inner joy. Next is a sharp transition. Video battle with Tsuchikure brothers became viral. The name clearly states, finally the one who won them. More than 800,000 views have gained a day of video. Sakura is shocked when he notices that the battle recording was flying through the network. He grumbles mentally, which was filmed without permission, and he begins to think those guys were really known. And here comes the message. It's Kamishiro. He saw the video and asks, "Sakura, what is your level now?" It is even more strained. He does not want to attention. But Kamishiro does not stop. He calls personally and immediately states he wants a duel one-on-one. He adds with complete confidence, "I will win you." Sakura did not expect such a challenge and is amazed at the opponent's determination. The scene is transferred to the new chapter, the 20th floor of the Blue Cave dungeon. The rank of G Sakura 1 fights against the giant dragon that breathes fire. The chapter is called Strange Player, a new stage begins. Surrounded on all sides by dragon, Sakura activates magic. From both hands it releases powerful rays flying in all directions. The energy explosion strikes the monsters simply. Sakura demonstrates the incredible ability to fight huge enemies on his own, exactly and fearlessly. Even surrounded by dozens of dragons on a level with the recommended threshold 95, he smiles confidently and prepares powerful magic with both hands. He enjoys the battle because the real collision just begins. A powerful explosion and a whole horde of dragons is destroyed in seconds. Messages of raising the level will pour one by one, +6, +7. The scale of the massacre is striking. The level is increasing rapidly, confirming that its strength exceeds the boundaries of this place. Sakura does not stop. Every spell falls on enemies, and notifications of new levels do not stop. From the very first acquaintance, he thinks, completely controlling the battlefield, his magic is accuracy, not just strength. And suddenly, an unexpected call. At the other end of the line is a guy who calmly remembers the unique skills of Sakura, an endless increase in level, and a factor of experience x1000. He admits that Sakura has long exceeded 99 levels. Despite the challenge, Sakura is silent, suspecting bad. He does not understand why the guy wants to fight, even seeing his battle with the brothers Tsuchikure. Sakura asks, "Why is this duel?" The guy replies that he always easily got everything before the system of levels, but after getting acquainted with Sakura, something has changed. For the first time in his life, he felt the desire to surpass someone. His goal is to stand up, just to see if he will be able to defeat such an opponent. He is not looking for a drive for a duel. He says he is enough to have a chance to fight with someone as strong as Sakura. He likes the challenges, and in Sakura he sees something interesting. But he adds he does not want to be forced to fight, respects the life of Sakura, and leaves the right to choose for him, ever when he is ready. Makoto Sakura opens its status, 23L1 level. His skills are Fire, Ice and Lightning, all level 10, increased magical stability, crazy multipliers of experience and efficiency. But even with this, he admits, he does not know how to defeat the one who is really a challenge. Despite the suspicion, he feels the invitation to the duel was sincere. And suddenly, right from the sky in front of him falls Blonde. She complains of pain sitting on the ground, surrounded by rose petals. Makoto looks stunned. Who is she and where? They exchange views until the girl smiles brightly and exclaims, "Yeah." She rushes to him and asks excitedly whether he is the same Sakura. She says she saw a video of how he defeated the Tsukikure brothers and praises, "You were just incredible." Sakura, a little surprised, yes. Smiling, she seems like SM and thanks him for the salvation. She explains with a smile that the monster swallowed her, and she was able to escape only because Sakura had won him. If not for him, she would have stayed there forever. Sakura says it aware that he does not remember how it happened. And she just smiles, "Oh, you just humble." And then he begins to think, what did she drink there? The scene ends with a sharp moment. Sakura shudders, hearing his own name from other people's mouths. On the 20th floor, he notices someone else, a girl without weapons and equipment. The look falls on Miki. She replies simply, "What is it?" And he suggests playing the game. Who will stand the look for longer, wins with ease. Miki rejoices in victory as if it were most important in her life. Sakura is slightly embarrassed, not quite understanding what is happening. Miki begins to sway. They say she never loses into a game of views, and she asks her to buy a hamburger for defeat. Sakura ignores the request. He asks better if she is alone. Miki confirms that yes, it alarms him even more. How did she reach the 20th floor without any weapons? Sakura begins to suspect that she may also have some special ability. How is an endless increase in level? So he asks a direct question, "What is your level, ISO?" Miki replies, "Level 22. Sakura is surprised. After all, this level does not survive here. He does not believe, but Miki insists. She makes no sense to lie, and to prove it, she decides to show her status. But before this happens, a dragon, ready to attack, falls from the sky. Sakura does not have time to react. and Miki already wins the monster with one fast and accurate blow. Sakura, amazed, looks at the overthrown body and does not understand. How did she do, having only 22 levels? He needs to understand what the secret is. Even more surprise, dragons begin to retreat and fly away. Suddenly the earth explodes. Miki has time to save the cherry. It pulls it into the crater and closes it. Their views intersect, and Sakura feels that she is not as simple as it seems. It is shocked Miki is completely intact after this attack. While he tries to comprehend everything, she smiles happily because they hold hands. His look is filled with even more confusion. The beginning of a new chapter. Miki jumps into his arms with a radiant smile, as if nothing happened. Sakura is stunning as she could survive after what happened. He does not understand. She replies lightly, "Because you saved me." His confusion is only growing, such a simple answer after such chaos. Sakura begins to understand. It will be much more difficult to deal with her than he imagined. ISO, with a sly smile, confesses she has special abilities. Despite only 22 levels, its status is absurd. It completely ignores physical and magical harm. Sakura is stunned. In front of him, an almost invulnerable girl with a minimal level. ISO winks and says, "You can try to kill me, nothing works on me." ESO confidently insists that the Sakura attempts to attack her, but even in the face of her obsessive enthusiasm, he firmly refuses. The idea of beating someone is invulnerable to him is meaningless and a little creepy. But her perseverance takes the mountain. It is reluctant. With a heavy sigh, Sakura still agrees. He warns seriously, "I will kill you." ESO just smiles. It recedes, concentrates, and prepares for the attack. The blow is fast, straight, but suddenly, something invisibly blocks it. His hand did not even touch her. The protective barrier stopped everything. Stunned, he understands that even his magic does not punch her ability. ESO, joyful and proud, rugging the result is the one that she was waiting. Sakura is amazed. The invisible shield completely covers her body, neutralizing all magical and physical attacks. ESO is swaying, she is in a honey, and Sakura only sighs. Even with such protection, the level 22 is not the one to walk with high-level dungeons. But ESO is genuinely admitted. It risks money. It is closer, jokes that the shield allows her to touch the cherry as you want because she still feels nothing. The atmosphere becomes much easier. She says directly she is looking for rare objects and gold in complex dungeons. It shocks Sakura. He did not expect such pragmatism. Despite the surprise, he respects her choice, and when she says she goes to the next floor, she decides to go with her. Sakura accompanies the ESO on the 21st floor, but something in it begins to shrink. It does not release anxiety. Even knowing about her invulnerability, he is still afraid that something will go wrong again. His thoughts are interrupted by the voice of ESO, which suddenly calls him by his name urgently. As he suspected, it happened bad. On the 21st floor, it was surrounded by poisonous lizards. 85. She falls, says the body is paralyzed, and vision begins to blur. The situation is critical. Despite its immunity to damage, the poison still eventually. Sakura quickly understands. ESO abilities do not protect against effects of a poisoning type or negative states. Without delaying, he instantly destroys all enemies with magic. 2 levels received for that. ESO remains to lie down powerless. Stunned, she praises his strength with surprise and respect. Sakura gives her a healing grass. She can't even raise her hand. So he feeds it himself, puts her grass right in his mouth. ESO begins to actively chew and even asks, "Mayonnaise." Sakura watches this and inadvertently thinks, "I am the pet is feeding." ESO thanks Sakura for his help, but insists she will continue to explore high-level dungeons because she has to make a lot of money. Sakura advises her first to train in safer places, but she categorically refuses. Smiling, she confesses, has huge debts and should pay as soon as possible. ESO says that her parents died, leaving significant debt. Since then, she has lived with her older sister, who has taken on all responsibility and even tried to support ESO training. Despite financial difficulties, the sister has always set the needs of ESO above her. She is good, caring, and selfless. ESO explains, wants to make money for 2 reasons: to pay off their parents' debts and give them peace where they are now. And also give your sister at least a little happiness and rest. She opens her heart in front of Sakura, smiles slightly through emotions, and says goodbye, full of determination to go forward. But Sakura suddenly takes her hand. Something strange is captured by instincts. Both look forward. There is an approaching threat. ESO, just emotional, instantly changes the mood. Her face becomes serious. She is ready for the next call. Seeing her determination, Sakura proposes to pass the dungeon together and help her raise the level. ESO is surprised, but gently touches his hands. It gives her confidence. Sakura is still a little embarrassed because of his impulse and even apologizes that he suggested help. But Iso thanks sincerely. He says he will never forget it. She smiles cheerfully and even jokes. They say, maybe you don't have to go, let it be better. Sakura thinks that his old I would never have done so. He thinks, why did he decide to help her? Perhaps because of her stubbornness and shine in her eyes, which does not go out even through difficulties. He convinces himself to leave it itself it would be dangerous, and to be one is very sad. ESO in delight says it looks like the mother of a younger brother, and Sakura thinks, in fact, she is more like an older sister, only very irresponsible. ESO smiles and confesses, feels very safe because Sakura is a 20,000 level player. These words are striking and is like thunder. He does not believe that she could find out. Sakura asks where does she know his level. Iso, with a light smile, confesses she saw it when she fell and grabbed for him. She apologizes, but she adds glitter in her eyes. She was amazed and now wants to reach 20,000 level. Sakura, a little awkward, confesses that he was careless. As a child, he already felt such a shame, and this feeling returned. When he says that the usual maximum level is only 99, ESO is shocked to be kept. With the weight in the voice of Sakura confesses, he exceeded this maximum. It is a rarity, but she has already seen everything, so she asks to keep it secret. ESO cannot believe in what is heard. Meanwhile, on the 22nd floor of the Blue Cave, there is a new threat, a Goblin Chamber level 77, which prepares a magical attack. Goblin launches Orba, but Sakura is easily protected. He instantly analyzes the enemy. It turns out that it is his only attack. Sakura asks if she wants to try to win herself. She hesitates, but he agrees. She asks to give her a chance. Sakura says he will only intervene if needed. An hour later, ESO is still beating, demonstrating incredible perseverance. And in the end it wins. The jumping of joy celebrates the triumph, and Sakura thinks in surprise. Although her attack is weak, but thanks to her immunity, she wins long fights. A good girl, he adds mentally. Iso, thank you very much. She says she was able to fight only through his support, because she was only able to run and hide before. She lifts a weapon that has fallen from Goblin and rejoices in a new equipment. She says she suits her perfectly. With a new weapon, she is confidently moving further. On the 25th floor, he studies light magic, and at the 30th reaches 48 levels, gaining new skills and accelerated growth of experience. Moving deeper, ESO and Sakura accumulate rare objects, dragon armor, exostia artifacts, and X-Machine. They do not know the exact purpose of these things, but Sakura proposes to sell them. The revenue will be solid. ESO rejoices, agrees to keep the treasures, and for the first time he hopes that it is possible that she will finally be able to pay debts. On the 35th floor, it again encounters poisonous lizards. At first it is covered by fear. Memories of past defeat are still alive, but determination flashes in the eyes. Having reached 60 levels, it opens the magical skill of cleansing from toxins. This time she goes into battle, no longer afraid of poison that paralyzed her before. On the 39th floor, being 67 levels, ESO faces two dragons. She trembles but does not retreat. She squeezes the weapon and stands unwavering. She remembers something she carries with her. Perhaps it is a symbol of courage or a gift from Sakura. Even with fear in her heart, she steps forward. With an accurate blow, it strikes one dragon in a weak place, instantly neutralizing it. Immediately, he gives up the second. Its level increases by 2 more points, but a new danger is ahead. And she is ready, confident, strong, invincible. With a decisive look, ESO rushes forward and drifts the axe firmly into the monster, without hesitation for a moment. The idea is heard. This time she will not allow herself to swallow. It attacks without fear, and one accurate, powerful blow to break the enemy. After winning the monster, ESO reaches 71 levels and acquires a new skill, magical identification. Sakura is surprised to follow her progress and is sure she will surely become an incredible player. ESO shows him characteristics and boasts with new skills. Magical identification, explains, allows you to learn more about monsters and objects. Sakura is amazed by her practicality. Employed, ESO states that he wants to try it in battle right away and tries to apply the skill to his own axe. However, the information revealed is very limited. The skill is only the first level. It tries to identify other things, and the functions of objects remain incomprehensible. Despite this, Sakura reassures her, still ahead. They decide to move to the analysis of the next find on the floor. Having reached the 40th floor, both fade in front of an incredible landscape, but the frost prevails around the bones. Sakura suspects this is the deepest level of the dungeon. Suddenly, the trap works. Metal grills are lowered around them with a deaf sound. Both do not have time to react. Studying the room, Sakura notices something strange and pays attention to ESO on the floor map. And even before they look at it, a huge black cat appears in the center of the hall, the boss of the floor, a dark liger. His level is unknown, and the look causes the heart to tremble. Sakura is nervous, but ESO keeps calm. She asks Miki to take advantage of the skill of magical identification to find out the weakness of the beast. Miki gladly agrees and quickly determines the dark liger is extremely vulnerable to holy light magic. Having received this information, Sakura stands firmly in the battlefield and says he will take a blow. ESO is preparing to support him. The top begins to glow with a dazzling glow, and the liger growls in anxiety, feeling the danger. ESO and Miki are covered with a bright flash, and Sakura stands motionless, ready to act. The tension increases. Everything indicates that the final fight is already on the threshold. Because of the magical seal, ESO and Miki are aware that now they will only have to fight physically. There is no other choice. There will be no magic, only muscle strength against a dark liger. They throw each other a decisive look when the beast rushes rapidly at them. Obviously, the clash will take place face to face, without any space for retreat. ESO confidently goes forward and asks for Sakura not to interfere. Armed, it becomes between the monster and the group, deciding to fight to the end. The liger's attack is unexpected and cruel, but ESO does not step down. Sakura watches with anxiety, remembering her protection, but realizes that the boss of the floor is much more dangerous than everything they have seen. An unexpected blow knocks it down. It becomes clear. The seal blocks not only magic, but also physical abilities. ESO throws a dark wave to the wall, and Miki shouts her name in despair. The tension is exacerbated. Everything is much more dangerous than they expected. Now the real threat is felt in every movement. Dark energy completely absorbs ESO. She can't do anything, and Miki sees that the girl is just confident, in fact on the verge. The situation is critical. ESO is powerless before the dark power of the boss. Miki rushes to her, trying to save, although time is floating. ESO screams her to stay away, but too late. The dark liger observes ominously, ready for the next blow. The blow of the terrible force of ESO is rejected on the crystal wall. Miki screams despair, seeing how it falls, lost in the dark. The voltage reaches the peak. It remains alone with the most dangerous boss. ESO wakes up in a strange crystal space and tries to understand where she is. It is a guess. Perhaps the liger has absorbed it or moved to another dimension. Suddenly on the wall, she sees a glow and goes to him. He notices the cherry display on the other side. He calls him loudly. He is sure that he hears her. Decides must get the first. It causes a direct blow to the crystal, but it turns out to be extremely strong. Even on the verge of power, she cannot punch him. But in her eyes, the passion, the crystal is not eternal. She continues to beat without losing determination. Meanwhile, Miki looks at the dark liger with a burning look and prepares for her battle. Thinking that Sakura has died, Miki rushes to a dark liger with a spear in her hands, shouting that it will not last for a long time. The decisive duel begins. Miki hit the target, but the shock wave throws it back. It falls to the ground and screams with pain, breathing hard. Despite the injury, the look remains determined. She is ready to get up and continue the fight. Miki notices that her weapon has swept away. Rising, she sees among the fragments of the previously found armor exodium. When it approaches, he hears a click in the mechanism. Before her eyes, the armor is activated. The smoke cloud sharply wraps everything around, forcing Miki to freeze from surprise. The dark liger recedes, and the earth before it begins to deform, anticipating something powerful. A silhouette appears from the fog. Miki looks tightly until she recognizes it is Gargantua. Finally, the true purpose of mysterious armor is a combat metal creature. Miki smiles relieves, and ESO understands the crystal wall. Gargantua is their ace in the sleeve. The presence of this creature adds hope. Gargantua goes forward. The monster attacks, but his blows are in vain. Gargantua's metal hand grabs the beast and squeezes easily. ESO and Miki are delighted with power. The real battle begins. The liger with force throws the crystal wall. After that, it disappears, as if dissolving in the air. But suddenly Gargantua also disappears. ESO does not have time to do anything, as she sees that the crystal near it begins to open itself. In deep silence, she looks at the split walls, not understanding what will happen next. Miki is still recovering next to her. But it does not seem. It activates another object, again exoscent. However, nothing happens this time. Only a regular lighter remains in the hands. Disappointed, she barely holds back emotions, and the monster looks silently, as if she did not understand. But when it lights the fire, a magical circle appears. From the flame emerges a giant energy creature, a radiant, majestic, filled with power. Shocked Miki cannot believe, in front of her, a real giant made of pure energy. The strength of the artifact was finally revealed in all its glory. 3 hours before this, on the 38th floor, ESO stretches Miki with words that it will be a surprise. While Miki looks with interest, ESO makes a magical gesture, and at the same moment disappears just before her eyes. Miki looked around, calls Sakura, and does not understand where he has just gone. But suddenly ESO appears behind her back, forcing the girl to shudder, a new skill of teleportation. He explains that he studied the magic of teleportation, raising the level, although it is only the first level. Magic spends a lot of mana and causes nausea, but ESO is sure that it will soon get used to it and be able to use it more often. Sakura smiles, moved by his enthusiasm. The guy is a little ashamed, but he confesses that he has long dreamed of gaining a new ability. The scene changes, ESO watching Gargantua carefully. The metal giant is silently standing, as if it is waiting for the order. ESO asks him to destroy the space and help flee, but Gargantua replies deafly, "It is impossible." He explains that the place is formed of a special crystal, which is self-renewed even after damage. ESO is silent, but is already thinking about a new plan. ESO asks whether Gargantua can use magic. He replies that no, but adds an important detail. It can serve as a conductor for a swing, accumulate up to 3 spells, and activate them later. Each spell can only be used once, after which it is necessary to charge again. ESO understands that this opens up new opportunities. The guy clarifies whether prohibitive magics are acting on. Gargantua replies that he cannot be treated or resurrected, but the other is very useful. ESO confidently says it's time to break out. Meanwhile, Sakura, emotionally watching from the distance, sighs relief. He faces a creature named Ext, who proudly calls himself a fiery spirit that emerges from hell. But instead of capturing Sakura, he wrinkles and says he didn't like it. X-Juice is stunned. Sakura criticizes his pathos style. They say he behaves as an emotional high school student. Exodia begins to justify theatrically, shouting that he is a chaotic essence from hell until he is interrupted by Gargantua. The Iron Giant says coldly, "It is better to ask what you want." Sakura seriously asks the Exocent to resurrect ISO, which was absorbed by the creature. Exodium says he cannot fulfill the desire, but reveals the truth. ISO is alive, just stuck in immeasurable space. Sakura does not seem, for her the main thing is only one thing, to save him anything. The Exorcium hesitates by accepting her words, and explains that it is not time to fulfill this request. Meanwhile, Gargantua suddenly activates the teleporting magic of level 1, affecting all those present. Sakura tries to say something, watching the Exorcium reaction. The atmosphere is tense. Iso orders Gargantuas, and he immediately causes icy magic of the 10th level. The crystal rises from the ground and closes the enemy with one blow. Sakura is stunned, and ISO provocatively reminds, he warned of his power. Sakura is unharmed and again next to ISO sits on Gargantua's shoulders. She smiles happily and thanks to herself for her success. Exodium observes from afar, struck by the fact that Sakura was ready to spend a valuable desire for salvation. ISO asks what he meant, saying not time. Exodium explains, to spend a desire for it is in vain. She reminds that she still has a chance to make something really important. He then shows a dark liger and reminds that she promised to defeat him on her own. Sakura is surprised but accepts the call. She breaks down with a line and instantly raises a level to 28 points. Now she has 99 level. Stunned by the result, she sees a new object, a dark sphere, mysterious and powerful artifact. Considering the dark sphere, Sakura asks that it is. ISO confirms, it was she who fell out of the monster. Although she does not know her purpose, she feels her strength. Exorcium reminds that it is time to make a desire. In a slightly comic scene, both heroes apologize for the delay, wondering how the spirits could wait so long. But suddenly the cherry shoos everyone. He says he has no desire. Despite debts and difficulties, she asks nothing. Iso is stunned and asks whether she is serious, but her face is full of confidence. Laughing, the Exorcium says it respects her character. It allows you to call it again when needed. Sakura thanks for the help but states, goes on herself. It is firmly tuned to pass the dungeon to the end. ISO tries to diminish its contribution, but Sakura emphasizes how much he has done. The scene is transferred to the dungeon of the Blue Cave of the rank G, where ISO is worried and looking for it. Finally, Sakura and ISO meet after victory. They celebrate, with smiles giving each other 5. They are joyful and lightweight. Sakura already dreams of how much money will receive for the sale of the Dark Sphere, but ESO proposes to a snack first. Together with Gargantua, they leave the dungeon with the piece of the winners. 3 girls stand in front of the center of the dungeon, discussing the latest news. One of them is stunned. It is about 100 million yen. The other confirms is a preliminary assessment because the crystals from the dungeons have become a potential source of energy for the whole world. The third asks with suspicion if they knew it before. The dark-haired girl explains, by magical evaluation, the black sphere has energy hundreds of millions of times more than usual. Although the exact cost will be determined by the center, the expert assures that this artifact is incredibly valuable. While she speaks, one of the girls nods in a confusion, answering only yes. The expert adds that the sphere will leave for a few days to check. As soon as they set, they will contact the owner to make an agreement. At the same time, she officially confirms that the group has passed the Class E dungeon, known as a Blue Cave. She welcomes them on the first official victory, adding a touch of celebration. He further recalls that after the case with the Red Shade dungeons, everyone who passes unregistered zones receive a reward, but 30 million yuan, like last time, will not. They are promised 3 million yuan for the dungeon of Class G. They ask how they want to split the amount. One of the guys proposes to pass all ISOs. Sakura wants to deny. But Iso interrupts him, insisting she was the dungeon and deserves a reward. The appraiser silently monitors the dispute. Sakura firmly replies that both deserve the reward, proposes to split the money in half. Iso denies, but he stops her in words. She will be angry if he does not agree. ISO is a little surprised, but inferior. Sakura thinks silently that he even likes when she is angry. Going with money, Sakura rejoices, imagining the surprise of his sister. ESO asks to be seriously reflected before selling the artifact, standing next to Gargantua. The group approaches the building in front, but notices that Gargantua does not follow them. He answers the question. The door for him is a lot. He will not be able to enter. The giant says that his mission is complete and he will remain here, rot in place. Sakura becomes awkward and anxious about such a statement. To relieve tension, ESO invents a new mission for Gargantua, to protect him in a dream, because monsters often interfere at night. With a slight smile, he asks if the robot will agree. Gargantua, with dignity, replies that he will be honored to serve Lord Sakura, just like that. Sakura apologizes that he did not think of him before and worries how to spend a giant through the door, but Iso demonstrates a magic bag. It will be convenient there. The moved Sakura looks at them and says that after that he will definitely not sell Gargantua. Iso with a smile confirms, now he is forever. At that moment, a strange creature appears in front of them, surprised by the words of Sakura. She says she has already chosen her desire. The monster, excited, asks her to voice the most ardent desire, but Sakura just smiles. She wants him to become her friend. He thinks aloud, sometimes people just need friendship, like a guy from school who flirted with her. She looks directly at the creature and says he looks bored. He calls him an exodium and again offers to become friends. The monster is confused and evil. It is unusual for him that he is not afraid. There is something about friendship, annoyed when called a girl, requires respect, and Sakura calmly parts. She encourages him, say out loud that we are friends. The creature is confused, behave like a shy teenager. Sakura seriously calls himself, preparing a scene for his words. Finally, the monster says, Iso is my friend. After that, dissolves into a smoke ball. ISO says her desire has been fulfilled, and although it was not large, the monster entrusts her storage of artifacts. Sakura asks about plans, but sees how much they have become closer and just smiles. When they talk by the sea, a guy appears and challenges someone on a duel. ISO seems to recognize the situation and fades with indecision. Sakura does not understand what is happening. Iso tries to wave, but confesses if they were at Tsukuchika, he would refuse. Sakura is interested in PvP and praises his strength. Iso hesitates, says the call is from a friend, and that is why the battle for him is meaningless. He is not concerned about the result. Sakura looks at him silently. The tension between them increases. Views occur, the atmosphere changes. Eso notices something in her eyes and responds in surprise. He recalls that at the beginning of Sakura, his gaze was avoided. She answered calmly, not everything should be all, but friends should not hide her eyes. Now they look each other right into the shower. Sincere closeness is born between them. Sakura and Iso's views intersect in tense silence, but he cannot stand and distracts his eyes side. Smiling with the victorious glitter in his eyes, Sakura states that she won. Iso is awkwardly. They say, it is only because they stood very close. Read up, Sakura hides his face with his hands, holding back emotions. Iso, though upset, recognizes the defeat for the first time, but gently turns to her, showing how much their connection has strengthened. Sincerely smiling, Iso thanks her. Sakura, laughing and moving blushing, replies that she should thank it. The last stretch of the hand, and they say goodbye to warmth and gratitude in the heart. Iso, remembering the past, decides to avoid friends no longer. He takes the phone and calls Kamishiro Sanishi, erasing silence that divided them. The scene changes. Sanishi in the middle of the icy field leads a brutal battle. The monster jumps on him, smashing the ice around him. The atmosphere is instantly aggravated. The moment of real danger comes. Kamishiro destroys the boss on the floor with a powerful blow, causing surprise and delight of others. One of the girls comments that she has not seen him so serious for a long time, and she is interested in what happened. Smiling, Kamishiro replies that he is just very excited. The phone shows a message from ISO, "It's okay, let's beat," and it was the excitement of his excitement. Sleepy ISO opens the door and stumbles on Kamishiro, who has fun and reports that noon. Without long explanations, Kamishiro invites him to a family mine. Surprised, ISO asks how he learned where he lives. Kamishiro evades the answer, hinting what he was told. ISO immediately guesses that it is a matter of Mary's hands. They find themselves in the open field, preparing for the duel. ISO demonstrates a special object, a giant shell that can withstand 3 strokes, changing color from red to black after each. The conditions are simple. Who will break the shell first, he lost. Kamishiro confirms that such a duel will allow you to fight the full, but still asks whether ISO is really ready. ISO honestly admits Kamishiro is able to finish the battle instantly, but he still wants to go through it. For him, this is more than battle as a way to meet the past and friends face to face. Kamishiro is silently watching, but the gaze gives sincerity. He sees that ISO has changed. ISO is surprised by such words. Kamishiro begins to joke. Maybe this change is because of love. ISO quickly rejects such an opinion, indignantly calling it nonsense. Smiling, Kamishiro stops teasing, pulls out the sword and declares, "It is time to start." ISO firmly agrees. This duel between friends for him is something more than a simple battle. He looks at Kamishiro with determination, declaring aloud that he will win. As long as he calmly watches, the earth under his feet suddenly begins to cover himself with ice. The ice quickly spreads as if simple magic of cold, but ICO feels something differently in this, something deeper that cannot be understood. Kamishiro warns that it will not be condescending. ISO activates level 1 teleportation and rushes rapidly, trying to get a friend's surprise. However, unstable magic plays against him, the movements break down, and he immediately finds himself in an inconvenient position. Kamishiro has already got a blow, but recognizes Iso, known as Sakura, is not the one who can be underestimated. Meanwhile, ISO is preparing for the second throw. He directs a powerful blow that breaks the ground. Kamishiro is amazed at the force of attack and the seriousness of the intentions. But the icy thorns suddenly rise from the ground, forcing ISO to retreat instantly. He is confused. Where does this magic come from? And here from the fragments of ice appears Kamishiro, a rapid, accurate, ready-made attack. ISO does not have time to react. He tries to focus, holding himself in his hands despite the fast pace. But Kamishiro disappears from the field of view. ISO is sharply experiencing a threat behind, too late. Direct stroke in the back. Kamishiro used a vulnerable moment. ISO is shocked and realizes that he has got into a carefully planned trap. However, it does not seem. Although surprised, he quickly analyzes the situation, evades and prepares for counterattack. This is his chance to equalize the situation. Focusing, Iso reads every movement of Kamishiro and sees the perfect moment to answer. Instantly activates the contradiction skill and tries to come from the rear. Kamishiro only quietly clicks on his tongue. He understood everything. The voltage reaches the peak. Kamishiro uses his own teleportation and suddenly appears behind ISO. Here's where you. Before the ISO has time to react, a direct blow to the chest. The protective object absorbs the attack, fixing the first damage. Kamishiro confidently announces, "First blow." The match is warmed up and the score begins to change. ISO understands that Kamishiro intentionally forced him to use teleportation from the beginning to get into a trap. ISO analyzes how ice magic appeared without any preparation. Everything happened instantly, as if the spell was activated by themselves. Interested, Iso asks where Kamishiro launched the spell. He confesses. Iso understood the essence of the trick. Although it is dishonest, it already has 4 unique skills. Kamishiro reveals the first 3 abilities: ice magic, reduction of experience to increase levels, and magical field. ISO is trying to understand how this system works. Kamishiro explains that the field operates within the zone, and it is it that enhances the user. In his case, it is an extension of the magical domain. The whole space around is its territory. Iso shocked dozens of magical circles appear around it. He does not have time to react, realizing that the situation has not changed dramatically. A powerful explosion of ice magic covers the field. Iso understands it. It is not a simple attack. Is that ice magic X? It is teleported trying to escape, but Kamishiro has already predicted it. With a smile, he states that ISO is too simple and predictable. Kamishiro confidently watches how another spell accurately hit the target. He smiles, catch. And as if in chess, says Shaw and Matt, the ISO ring crams 3 beats are exhausted. The match is completed. Kamishiro read every move perfectly. After the lesson, the ISO is surrounded by 4 classmates. One of the girls insists, "Enough, call us by name." She complains that no one does so from the beginning of high school, and it's time to change this tradition. Despite the hesitation, Iso is forced to turn to Ranga by name until all girls persuade him with excessive enthusiasm. Only when he heard his own name, Range's read and literally let a couple out of his ears. Even other girls did not expect such a reaction. Iso apologizes immediately, but he still falls for excessive sincerity. Everything rolls into chaos, jokes, screams, and surprise, and Iso only tries to understand what he did wrong. From returning to the country, Maria is constantly upset. Her body protector Maya notices that the girl misses her parents, who are always busy. Sitting for books without mood, Maria holds photos and sadly confesses that she misses Makoto. This is the real cause of her longing. Maya silently watches and thinks how she could support the young lady at that moment. Emotional Mary remembers her promise to meet Makoto when he becomes worthy, but now she admits she has been chasing after him and now wants to become worthy. Maya looks at a determined girl. To cope with longing, Mary is watching combat videos, enthusiastically and sincerely. Maya even turns a tray moved by her sincerity. Surrounded by classmates who are enthusiastically asking for help with the school, Sanishi hears praise like genius, reason, calm leader. He corresponds to the habitual smile, calm, polite, perfect. But this mask is hidden by the immature tension. All this is just a habit, to smile without showing what he really feels. He was taught from childhood, never stop, try, no matter where you are. He carries this principle, believing that through effort will reach anything. He studies, cons, and participates in national competitions. For him, perseverance is not only a way, but also an emotional shelter. At the next Sanishi tournament, the spectators, the freshman who easily wins, but despite the ovation, he feels emptiness. Trained to become strong and happy, now even victories and recognition do not bring joy. It seems like the meaning of all this has disappeared. He wandered alone, he confesses to himself. He began to restrain his strength for a long time, only to continue the fight. Everything seems boring, even workout. He is only praised, put on the pedestal, as if he is not a person. Tired of unobstructed victories, Sanishi seeks a real battle, difficult, risky living. With his sword compressed in his hand, he looks at the empty field. The desire for the battle increases, and the next moment begins a real fight. The opponent evades a devastating blow and becomes clear, this time before Sanishi, a real challenge. Despite the new forces, such as endless level up and multiplying experience, Sakura laughs during the battle. It is surprising Kamishiro, who first considered him predictable, but the emotions of the guy change everything. Kamishiro reacts instantly, and both fighters converge in lightning blows. Sakura tries to strike a straight stroke and falls into a new wave of magical circles. Kamishiro again activates ice magic, this time from above. Sakura, using teleportation, appears above Kamishiro and strikes a strong blow from above. Kamishiro tries to answer magic at a distance, but understands that his magical field is not activated. During training, a student named Kaido approaches Kamishiro. He provokes him, calling the genius, and challenges. Calling himself as a freshman, Kaido hints that Kamishiro's loneliness is a strange thing, and judging from the tone is an invitation to a duel. Kaido is annoyed through the cold, dismissed behavior of Kamishiro. It seems to him that he does not perceive the duel seriously. Kamishiro, keeping calm, replies coldly, he will have one blow to win. The tension between the boys increases, but one girl interferes rapidly and stops them before a real fight breaks. She is strictly read by Chaga Armin, Senkeido, and Kamishiro, reminding that such pranks can create problems for all freshmen. Kaido teases with a smile, they say. He is just angry because Kamishiro cannot win, and he proposes to solve everything in a manly on swords. In Tona, she challenges everyone at once. The fight is 3 against 1. Looking Kamishiro straight into the eye, the girl states that she is not afraid of rumors about his genius. She will make him be full. Under the interested views of others, she smiles confidently and adds that only a true genius is one who cannot be defeated. And warns, let him not think that she is weak, he can break his protection. Sakura focuses on making magic. The look is a complete concentration, it is on the verge of breakthrough. Kamishiro is watching carefully, respecting that creating a magical circle on a particular area is not easy. But Sakura manages to activate the magical circle and use the first-level teleportation clearly, confidently, with full control. Kamishiro is surprised to follow her performance when she suddenly hit the spell that she launched behind through teleportation. Indeed, he recognizes its growth. The Sakura strategy is accurate, and magic is unexpectedly effective. The girl confidently activates the magic of lightning of the 10th level. Kamishiro is stunned by her power, though she realizes that he is dealing with a powerful rival. Now he knows exactly in front of him not just a capable student, but a true combat monster with incredible potential. Kamishiro smiles excitedly, standing in the center of the magical field, surrounded by ice spells. He is not frightened by the seriousness of the battle. On the contrary, he seeks drive. To increase the accuracy of the attacks, Kamishiro narrows the boundaries of the magical field. Every blow now becomes sight and deadly. The takeoff of ice blades does not give Sakurai time to reflection. Kamishiro is pressing aggressively, forcing her to retreat. Despite the powerful combinations and skills of ice magic, Sakura does not deviate. She watches, struck, but holds confident. And then he reveals his trump card, the magic of cloning the 10th level. The battlefield is suddenly filled with its ghosts. In the chaos of a new attack, she throws him. You said that you have only 4 skills. Kamishiro confuses tracks, combining teleporting with ice, but Sakura carefully counts every movement. Kamishiro understands with anxiety that he expressed more than it was worth it. The initiative goes to Sakura. Her cunning begins to take a mountain over the logic of the opponent. At the decisive moment, the Sakura strikes an accurate blow, completing the battle. Despite the genius of Kamishiro, it wins through strength and an unexpected strategy. This is the victory of a real monster. After the battle, Kamishiro invites Sakura to his home. They meet a generously covered table, and both are surprised by the variety of dishes. Kamishiro explains that he warned Kuyo's maid about the guest's arrival, so she prepared such a treat. There is a moment of rest and warmth. The atmosphere is imbued with mutual respect after a duel. Sakura grabs food with delight, and in her eyes, sincere pleasure. Kuyo watches with a cold smile and then sharply says, if they do not taste, they can go. It jumps by the guests by surprise. Sakura is confused. The sharp tone of the maid breaks her carefree mood. She loses the gift of language for a moment. At the table of Sakura thanks for delicious food, but with sadness he remembers his failure. Kamishiro tries to reassure, saying that even with the difference in levels it was difficult. Another guy acknowledges, Sakurina's strategy was smart. He thought she was just relying on characteristics. Laughter and jokes discharge the atmosphere. Even Kuyo begins to take it seriously. After finishing the meal, Kamishiro suddenly moves to the serious. He officially invites Sakura to join the group of Senko. Words are suddenly caught. She cannot answer immediately. The weight of the solution is felt in the silence that hung at the table. Kamishiro looks at her silently, emphasizing the importance of the offer. Sakura refuses to be politely. She explains that life is not for her. Knowing what to do is boring. Her answer is surprising, but at the same time entertains Kamishiro. He smiles, recognizing her unpredictability. Sakura immediately translates the conversation to another and says that he also has questions. During the conversation, Sakura asks Kamishiro why he actually get a dungeon of A-class. Her tone is calm, but the eyes are attentive. Kamishiro answers the question of the question, what is the dungeon for you? He explains that the year has passed from their appearance, but even with the achievements in the research of monsters and trophies, much remains unattainable for people, even for the chosen ones. The room breaks into the room, Miki's sister. She proudly shows a photo from the phone, calling his sister the sweetest creature in the universe. A classmate jokingly asks why she did not call instead of watching the photo. Mika fades, realizing that she could really make a video call. Feeling panic, she checks the phone and sees that there is no signal. Shocked, she learns Miki is now in the dungeon. Hearing that her sister was in the dungeon with the boy and even completed the task of the rank of C, Mika explodes from rage. He screams frantically that he will make Sakura eat her own eyes, and a classmate tries to quench her, asking her to take her hands. When a girlfriend confirms that Mika's theory about dungeons makes sense and instantly moves out of anger to delight. She is inspiring and vigorously starting to talk about how everything is possible in our time. demonstrating absolute confidence. They soon go to the team base. There, Mika demonstrates a vibration-suppressed device she adapted for the dungeon. The plate shows that she is a researcher of the center of the dungeon. While the team is studying the entrance to the new dungeon, the question hangs in the air. What is the structure? Why does it exist? And who created it? The mystery of the structure is increasingly interested. The questions are more and the answers are still in the shade. The atmosphere is exacerbated. Kamishiro shares. He wants to grasp the nature of the dungeon and believes that the answers are hidden in the dungeon of rank A. Sakura listens silently and thinks. Thanks to the dungeons, she found friends. She didn't even think about it before. Now she believes that it is important to go forward with her own faith. Kamishiro laughs and says Sakura has changed a lot. She answers with interest, what next? Kamishiro denies and adds that the player inevitably meets others. This is part of growth. In the end, even loneliness gets bored. It is the connections that make sense. The conversation ends with the image of new faces and allies. Kamishiro is convinced that many more people who will meet on this path are ahead. The girl recognizes that new acquaintances will bring changes to him. Kamishiro smiles quietly, recognizing that being among many, a little annoying, but he no longer rejects this thought completely. Sakura smiles and says that he is looking forward to what is next. Meanwhile, a new mysterious character appears in the corridors of the dungeon. He passes through the bodies, calling a magical circle with a cold, decisive look. The tension increases, its appearance is threatened. The streets are discussing the strongest players that have overcome the 6th level. It is said that she did not need protection, only her own strength and unbreakable will. Next to her is a monster that causes the horror of even the boldest. Despite the frightening rumors, the biggest shock causes her calm, good luck. This is contrary to everything they say about it, raising doubts about the truth of legends. On the 14th floor of the 6th ranked dungeon, the girl in despair is looking for something that she had to taste as a reward. She is upset because she lost what she was waiting for. The monster companion Exorcium is cold, that crying through the burger is not serious. She looks at him fiercely, and he tries to justify. They say he ate nothing, but the girl hints at his perfectly groomed claws, suspecting him. The quarrel is ongoing. It accuses Exodia of disappearance of food during her sleep because there was no one else. He denies everything, even jokes that he does not wear overhead claws. Despite this, she dramatically calls him a liar, states that she leaves him forever, and goes with his head proudly raised, and he remains in a stupor. It reaches the 15th floor, the deepest point where she ever descended. Everything is tightened with thick fog. She is calling Exodium, but there is no answer. She is scared, but she holds on. Going further, he tries to seem indifferent, but the loneliness of the Exorc is felt too much. Suddenly, tentacles appear from the fog, which capture it and lift it. She screams, completely defenseless. From the water appears the boss of this floor, Lark, a giant creature of mucus with a spooky mouth. The recommended level for battle is unknown. It is very dangerous. The girl begins to lose consciousness through a poisoned fog. Fighting sleeping, she thinks of the use of magic detoxification. At the moment when the monster attacks again, the Exorcium suddenly appears and pierces it with an accurate blow. She lies with relief and surprise, and the Exorc, covered by the rage, is attacking. It flies through the water, tears the tentacles of the enemy, forcing it to squeeze in pain. With a powerful roar, the Exorcium strikes the explosion and breaks the monster into pieces. Sakura exclaims his name, concerned, but he replies brazen that everything is fine and help with him. At the same time, she feels that the threat has not yet passed. Seeing the boss comes to life again, Sakura rushes rapidly, without hesitation, blocks the tentacle with a shield, and prepares for a decisive counterattack. Activates the magic of level 10, creating a powerful magic circle. The speed of her movements is surprised by the monster. With a focused look, she prepares a direct blow. The monster monitors, not realizing what is waiting for him. After the battle, the Sakura finds a rare artifact. It is a mirror of memory. It allows you to see the events of the past at the point where it is activated. Interested, she immediately activates him in the room where they rested. Exorcium panic, realizing that she is about to know something. He decides to confess to his secret. He was once a creature that had a desire to disappear and to be reborn without memory. But after getting acquainted with ISO, he felt not a tool but a friend, and thanks to her, she found sense of existence. However, ISO interrupts him, looking enthusiastically in the memory mirror without waiting for the speech. In reflection, she sees the monster's attack, but Exorcium appears and heroically protects the place, even turning the lost burger. ISO rejoices, admiring a friend's heroism. However, the joy disappears quickly. She sees how Exorcium ate her burger. he tries to crush but in vain. With a disappointed look, she says she is more upset with a lie than the loss of the burger himself. Trust for her is holy. The Ex-Orc is justified. They say the mirror is wrong, but the blame is obvious. He confesses that he just wanted to try what she likes. She smiles and says, "Next time burgers we'll eat together." The tension melts and their friendship becomes even stronger. When Isso asks what he wanted to tell her, the Exorcium first tasks, translating the topic. But notwithstanding her look, he confesses. He will never fulfill her desire. She is shocked, but he immediately proposes to go to the gate. His act hints at deeper feelings. Isso rejoices because she conquered another dungeon and wants to tell Sakura, but he hesitates when he saw his name in the phone. Her face turns red and the Exorcium notices it. He asks what she is ashamed, it's just a name, but her face gives out more than she says. Isso confesses, does not know why, but something strange feels when communicating with Sakura. Exordium, laughing, brings out on the YOLO screen, causing it to grind, but she is gaining courage and writes a simple hello. Sakura is instantly responding. Isso smiles awkwardly, and the Exorc is silently watching, realizing that there is something more than friendship here. April comes, Isso is happily chatting with the phone, smiling, as if he had missed the year instantly, and the Exorc from afar observes a typical smile. A year has passed since the dungeon appeared. Looking at the city, Sakura thinks of how everything has changed, and finally, a request to support the channel sounds, because there is a lot of effort to create these stories. See you in the following video.